The world was young, still soft in its silence. Shapes had not yet settled, and boundaries were only whispers in the air. In that wide stillness, a presence stretched itself over all things, a vast dome that curved without end. This was Uranus, the father of the sky. His body was endless blue, gentle yet powerful, and his breath was the quiet wind that moved through the emptiness. Below him, Earth was forming. Gaia's body spread with rich soil, deep caves, and mountains that rose like slow thoughts from her heart. She felt the weight of stillness and the ache of solitude. Her slopes were green with new growth, but no one yet shared her days. She lifted her face upward, longing for a companion, and there she saw Uranus, vast and unyielding, resting above her. Gaia whispered in the hush of dawn, "Do you see me, sky? I carry forests, rivers, and stones, but I stand alone." Uranus, who had been only expanse and distance, lowered his voice like soft thunder rolling across the horizon. "I see you, Earth. Your valleys breathe warmth. Your peaks rise toward me. I will not leave you in silence." The first bond stirred. The sky leaned close to the earth, and the earth opened herself to the sky. The two touched, not in noise or fire, but in still embrace, and in that embrace life began to awaken. Stars glimmered faintly across Uranus's chest, tiny sparks forming in the dark blue of his body. They trembled, curious, as if waiting for their purpose. Gaia felt them and whispered, "Let them be children of the night. Let them shine over my hills and seas." Uranus's voice deepened with pride. "Then they shall belong to us both." Time passed in the gentlest of flows. From their union, great beings began to stir. The first were the Titans, tall and strong, their bodies carrying both the firmness of earth and the endless stretch of sky. They walked upon Gaia's mountains and looked upward toward Uranus, their father, who crowned them with the silver light of stars. One of the first was Oceanus, his eyes as deep as rivers, his hair flowing like endless streams. He traced his hands across Gaia's surface, and from his touch came waters that wrapped around her in vast embrace. Seas rolled, rivers coursed, and lakes shone under Uranus's night. Beside him was Hyperion, whose gaze burned with golden fire. He raised his arms to Uranus, and from his palms spilled light that reached across the sky. Dawn stretched its first fingers, soft and rosy, painting Gaia's slopes. Hyperion's warmth touched her skin, and she shivered with joy. There was Thea, glowing with beauty that mirrored the shimmer of stars. She looked at Uranus with tender wonder, and at Gaia with gentle care, and her laughter rang like soft bells through the valleys. Beside her walked Rhea, steady and kind, her steps like rolling hills, her voice a soothing murmur that comforted all who heard. One by one the Titans awoke, each carrying a piece of Uranus and a piece of Gaia. Ceus, thoughtful and quiet, lifted his head to study the horizon, his mind filled with distant patterns. Phoebe, radiant and calm, kept close to him, her silver eyes soft with wisdom that glowed like moonlight. Crius stood strong, a pillar of strength, while Themis carried fairness in her heart, her words even and balanced like the steady course of rivers. Mnemosyne walked with her, her memory holding the first songs of the earth, gentle notes that echoed beneath the mountains. The youngest among them were Cronus and Iapetus. Cronus's eyes held curiosity, watching both earth and sky with restless thought. Iapetus, tall and solemn, carried sharpness in his spirit, as though always ready for choice and consequence. Gaia looked upon them with pride, her children tall as trees and steady as stone. Uranus gazed from above, his deep voice moving through the wind. "You are Titans, born of earth and sky. Carry strength, carry wisdom, and let your steps shape the world." The Titans raised their heads and answered as one. Their voices rolled through valleys, gentle yet strong, echoing beneath Uranus's vault. But not all children born of Uranus and Gaia carried calm forms. Soon, deeper in Gaia's hidden places, others began to stir. Giants with 100 hands stretched within her caverns, each finger like the roots of ancient trees. Their breaths rumbled in the darkness, heavy and slow. Alongside them, Cyclopes opened their single eyes, wide and blazing with fire. Their gaze was fierce, though their hearts beat with the same yearning as their Titan kin. Gaia felt their weight within her. She whispered to Uranus, her voice tender but weary, "These too are ours, Sky. Stronger, stranger, but still our children. Uranus gazed down, his face shadowed with unease. The stars dimmed slightly as he spoke. They are mighty, Earth, yet their shapes bring me unease. Their strength is vast, but it stirs the storm inside me. Gaia stroked the soil gently, calming the restless breaths of her hidden children. Even the unusual carries purpose. Give them space to rise. Uranus did not answer at once. The sky held long silence, heavy but calm. At last he murmured, I will watch them, Earth. I will cover them with my vault. But I fear their power. Still, the world grew. Days stretched longer under Hyperion's light, and nights shimmered with Phoebe's glow. Oceanus's rivers carved paths, weaving songs through Gaia's body. The Titans walked gently upon the land, their voices weaving tales that echoed from valley to mountain. Yet in the quiet spaces, the hidden children stirred. Their 100 arms reached in dreams, their blazing eyes glowed in the dark. And Uranus, gazing from above, pressed closer against Gaia, his vast body heavy against hers, as if to keep those children from climbing upward. Gaia felt his weight and whispered softly, though her words carried a shadow of worry. Do not press too hard, sky. Let them breathe, as the rivers breathe, as the stars breathe. But Uranus only spread wider, pressing his endless blue against her ridges and plains. His stars blinked faintly, uneasy, as though they too felt the strain. The Titans watched in silence. Cronus, youngest among them, tilted his head with curiosity, sensing a tension that words could not yet explain. His heart stirred with quiet questions, though he kept them close, waiting for the time when answers might come. The night deepened. 1,000 stars shimmered softly, calming the valleys with their glow. Ocean waves lapped against the shores, a steady rhythm under Uranus's gaze. Yet beneath the earth, the hidden children shifted restlessly, their breaths echoing in the caves. And Gaia, though proud of all her children, felt a quiet ache rising within her, like a stone pressed too deep in the soil. She closed her eyes and whispered into the silence of the night. May the world find balance, and may my children find their place. Her words drifted upward, carried by the wind, and Uranus heard them as a distant murmur beneath the stars. The sky remained vast. The earth remained steady. But between them, something new was beginning to take shape, something quiet, waiting, and heavy with promise. The days stretched long, soft with golden light. Hyperion's warmth spread across Gaia's slopes, and her hills glowed under the gentle sun. At night, Phoebe's silver calm washed the valleys, her light touching the leaves, the rivers, and the quiet stones. The world breathed in rhythm, slow and steady, between day and night. Gaia felt joy in the footsteps of her children. The Titans roamed across her body, tall as mountains, gentle as streams. They carved no wounds, only paths, and they spoke with voices that rolled like soft thunder. Where they walked, grasses bent but rose again, and trees swayed with respect. Oceanus circled the world, his vast waters wrapping around Gaia like an embrace. His waves lapped at her shores, murmuring secrets in a tongue older than memory. Mother, he said, his deep voice rumbling, I will keep your edges safe. My rivers will feed your plains. My tides will kiss your sands. Wherever you end, I will hold you. Gaia smiled, her cliffs glowing in the dawn. My son, you are endless and kind. Your touch brings life to all who drink. Hyperion, golden and tall, lifted his face to Uranus. Father, I bring your light down to earth. I spread your glow across her valleys. When I shine, she smiles. Is this what you wish for me? Uranus's voice rolled from above, steady as the wind. Yes, child. You carry my fire. Through you the day is born. Beside Hyperion walked Thea, her laughter like gentle bells. She caught his hand, her eyes shimmering. Brother, your light dances on my skin. It makes me shine. I will share it, and I will carry beauty into every shadow. Thea's glow spread across flowers, over seas, over the faces of her kin. Her presence softened the bright blaze, turning it into colors, pinks of dawn, violets of dusk, golds of mid-afternoon. Gaia felt her heart swell. Daughter, you bring color to my soul. The family grew in closeness, each Titan carrying purpose. Rhea's steps softened the mountains, her voice soothing forests into song. Wherever she wandered, streams whispered more sweetly, and trees bent their branches in gentle welcome. Ceus gazed far away, his mind reaching past the horizon. He touched the air, tracing lines no one else could see. The world is wide, he murmured. There are paths in the sky, movements beyond our sight. Someday we may follow them. Phoebe stood beside him, her silver eyes calm. Husband, I see them too. The sky holds secrets, but it shares them softly. Let us listen with patience. Cronus, the youngest, followed them with watchful eyes. His thoughts were restless, always stirring, searching. He saw his siblings speak with joy, with certainty, with pride. But within his heart there was an ache, a question without answer. He would ask Gaia, Mother, is there more to come? Is this the end of our family? And Gaia, gentle but weary, would place her voice in the rustle of grass. The world is never finished, my son. Life will rise again and again. The soil carries more seeds than we can count. Yet within Gaia, in her deep caverns, the other children shifted. The 100-handed ones stretched in silence, their bodies vast and strange. Their 100 arms pressed against the stone walls, and their many fingers dug into the dark. Their breathing echoed like drums in the earth. The Cyclopes blinked their single eyes, wide and burning. Sparks flickered in the darkness, the first signs of fire. They looked upward, longing for the open air, longing to walk where their Titan siblings walked. Gaia felt them, every movement, every sigh. She whispered to Uranus, They stir within me, sky. They grow restless. They wish to see the stars you wear. But Uranus frowned, his body pressing lower against Gaia, his stars dimming. They are not like the Titans. Their shapes are heavy. Their strength is wild. If they walk the world, they will shake it. Gaia sighed, her valleys trembling with the sound. They are ours, beloved. Children of earth and sky, no less than the others. Can you not open your heart? Uranus remained silent. The night stretched heavy. He spread wider, his dome covering her tightly, holding her children down. The Titans noticed the weight. Oceanus paused in his rivers. Rhea felt it in her forests. Cronus, sharp-eyed, saw it most clearly. He whispered to his brother Iapetus, Father fears something. Look how he presses against Mother. Look how he hides what stirs below. Iapetus' voice was low, edged with thought. Perhaps he is right to fear. Those hidden ones carry a power I cannot measure. But Cronus frowned, his restlessness deepening. Power is not always dangerous. Perhaps he hides them because he does not understand them. The days went on. Hyperion's light shone. Phoebe's glow calmed. The Titans lived upon the earth, shaping valleys, lifting mountains, guiding rivers. Yet always the hidden children stirred. Their voices rumbled in the caverns, muffled, yearning, unheard. One night, Gaia listened to them with sorrow. Her heart ached for the children pressed too tightly inside her. She turned her voice upward, soft as a breeze, but laced with grief. Uranus, my love, you cover me too heavily. You bind me, and you bind them. Let them rise. Give them space. Uranus's stars flickered, his voice slow and stern. No, Gaia. If they rise, they will bring ruin. The world is balanced now. I will not risk it. Gaia fell silent, though her silence was heavy with pain. The Titans felt it in their hearts. Rhea wept softly, her tears turning into springs that bubbled from the hills. Themis spoke no words, but her eyes dimmed with quiet sadness. Cronus walked alone, his steps echoing against the mountains. His mind was restless. He felt the ache of his mother, the fear of his father, and the stirring of his unseen siblings. His thoughts tangled like vines, growing tighter with every day. Above him, the stars shone faintly, as if they too carried unease. The night was wide, yet pressing. The earth was strong, yet burdened. Something unspoken filled the air, stretching between earth and sky, waiting for its time to break. The hidden ones pressed harder, their strength rattling Gaia's caverns. She bore the weight in silence, but her heart whispered with longing. May all my children breathe free. Her words floated upward, soft as mist, reaching Uranus. But the sky did not answer. He only pressed closer, and his stars glimmered cold. The world remained still, yet within that stillness, the first shadow of change began to take shape. The morning rose in quiet light. Hyperion's warmth spilled gently across Gaia's slopes, and the grass swayed in the golden glow. Birds, small and new, fluttered from branch to branch, their wings catching the dawn. Rivers shimmered, their surfaces rippling with the soft touch of breeze. On the surface, the world seemed calm. The Titans moved about their mother's lands, shaping valleys, guiding waters, tending mountains. Rhea's laughter rang softly as she walked through groves of tall trees. Oceanus's rivers sang as they poured into his wide seas. Themis spoke quietly with her sisters, her voice steady like the course of flowing streams. Yet deep within Gaia, unrest stirred. The hidden children shifted in her caverns, their great limbs pressing against the stone. The hundred-handed ones stretched their many arms, and the rock trembled faintly with each movement. The Cyclopes blinked their single burning eyes, and sparks lit the shadows of the caves. Gaia felt every tremor, every sigh. She carried them all, the strong Titans above, and the heavy, restless children below. Her heart was wide with love, but burdened with weight. She whispered into the soil, speaking to herself as much as to them. My children, I feel your struggle. You are pressed too tightly, and your longing grows. But the sky does not understand. He presses upon me, upon you, keeping you bound. The voices of the hidden ones rumbled back, faint but filled with yearning. They had no words, only deep echoes, a chorus of desire for freedom. Gaia closed her eyes, her mountains quivering with the ache. Cronus, youngest of the Titans, felt the tremor in the hills. He pressed his ear to the ground, listening. Mother, I hear something beneath me. What stirs there? Gaia answered softly, her tone heavy with weariness. Your brothers, your sisters, children who have not yet seen the sky. They cry for release, but your father does not let them rise. Cronus frowned, his hand pressing against the soil. He felt the faint pulse of strength below. Why does father keep them hidden? Do they not belong to us? Gaia's voice trembled, her cliffs sighing. He fears them. Their power is great, their shape strange. He worries they will break the balance. So he presses against me, holding them down. And I, though I love them, must bear the weight. Cronus's eyes darkened with thought. He rose and walked across the fields, his steps quick. He looked up at the sky, wide and endless, and called, Father, why do you press so heavily upon Mother? Why do you bind what belongs to us? Uranus's deep voice rolled through the wind, slow and stern. You do not understand, child. Those who stir below carry danger. Their strength is too great, their fire too fierce. If they rise, they will bring ruin to the world. I keep them hidden for the safety of all. Cronus clenched his fists, his young spirit restless. But Mother suffers. Do you not see her sorrow? Do you not feel her burden? The stars above flickered faintly, but Uranus gave no gentler reply. His silence was heavy, and his presence pressed down harder. Gaia groaned quietly, her valleys trembling. Rhea rushed to her side, her face filled with worry. Mother, your voice is heavy. What weighs upon you so deeply? Gaia brushed her daughter's cheek with a breeze. Nothing, my child. Walk gently, sing softly, and let the earth be calm. But Rhea looked into her mother's hills and saw the sorrow there. She turned to her sisters, to Themis and Mnemosyne, and whispered, Mother suffers, though she hides it. Father presses too strongly. Something is not right. Themis, fair and steady, lifted her gaze to the sky. He believes he keeps balance. But balance is not pressed into silence. Balance is harmony. If one suffers, all will suffer. Mnemosyne, who held memories like a song, spoke with quiet sadness. I remember the first days when sky leaned gently upon earth, and their embrace was sweet. But now his weight grows heavy, and Mother's laughter has turned to sighs. The sisters fell silent, their voices blending with the soft winds that carried across the hills. Meanwhile, in the deep caverns, the hidden children grew stronger. The hundred-handed ones lifted their arms against the stone, shaking it with quiet force. The Cyclopes let sparks fall from their eyes, glowing like embers in the dark. They pressed against the walls, not with anger, but with longing. Their hearts beat heavily, waiting for freedom that did not come. Gaia's heart ached with every thrum of their longing. She whispered to herself, I carry them all, and I cannot release them. If Sky will not listen, who will ease my burden? Her voice drifted through her children above. Some turned away, unsure of what to do. But Cronus lingered, his mind restless, his eyes sharp with thought. He walked again to his brothers. He spoke first to Oceanus, whose rivers glimmered under the sun. Brother, do you hear mother's sorrow? Do you not feel her burden? Oceanus, calm and wide as the sea, answered gently. I feel it, yes, but I flow where I must. The world is vast. Perhaps in time the sorrow will ease. My waters cannot lift this weight. Cronus frowned, then turned to Hyperion, who shone in golden light. Brother, can you not burn away this shadow? Can you not bring fire to Father's weight and free what is bound? Hyperion's glow wavered, but his voice remained steady. I shine where I am placed. I bring warmth in day, but I cannot defy the sky, whose fire gave me my flame. His will is stronger than mine. Cronus turned then to Iapetus, who stood tall and silent, his eyes sharp as stone. Brother, you see the truth. Tell me, do you not sense that something must change? Iapetus' gaze met his. His voice was low, thoughtful, edged like a blade. I feel it, yes, but Father's power is vast. To rise against him is to strike at the very vault of the heavens. Who would dare do such a thing? Cronus's eyes narrowed. His thoughts tangled, sharper now. He did not answer. The day turned to night. Phoebe's silver glow spread across the valleys, calming the forests, softening the seas. The stars glittered faintly, but their light was heavy, as though weighed down by Uranus's endless body. Gaia whispered to her youngest son as he lay beneath her mountains. Cronus, my child, you are restless. Your heart is quick. You question what others do not. Perhaps in you lies the path to ease my burden. Cronus pressed his hand to the soil, listening to the deep echoes of his hidden siblings. His breath was slow, but his mind was awake. Mother, he whispered, I will not let your sorrow last forever. Gaia's voice trembled, both with hope and with fear. If you choose to act, my son, act with care. The world is fragile, even in its strength. Cronus closed his eyes, the stars glimmering faintly above him. He did not yet know what he would do, but his heart carried a promise that would soon stir the stillness of the world. And in the caverns below, the hidden ones pressed harder, their voices rising in muffled rumble, shaking the roots of mountains, echoing against the silence of the night. The nights grew longer in Gaia's heart. She carried her children above, the Titans, who walked the lands with steady steps. She carried her children below, the hundred-handed ones and the Cyclopes, who pressed restlessly against the stone. And above her, always, Uranus stretched wide, his vast body covering her, pressing down with his endless vault of stars. The silence grew heavy. Gaia loved him still, the father of the sky, but his weight no longer felt like comfort. It was a burden. It was restraint. Each night she whispered into the soil, How long must this be? How long must I carry it all without release? Her words reached the roots of the trees. They rustled with her sorrow. They reached the rivers. Their waters murmured in sympathy. The mountains trembled faintly, as though sharing her ache. Cronus walked among the hills and valleys, listening. His young spirit was sharp, restless, searching. He heard his mother's sighs, and he felt the groaning of the hidden ones in the caverns. He pressed his palm to the soil, whispering, I hear you. I feel your struggle. I will not let it last forever. One night, when the stars shimmered faintly and the moon floated pale over the hills, Gaia called her children together. Her voice rose softly, carrying the night air, and the Titans came. They stood in a wide circle on her plains, their tall figures glowing in the moonlight. Rhea stood closest, her face tender with concern. Oceanus, calm and vast, stood with the quiet flow of his rivers behind him. Hyperion and Thea glowed with golden light. Phoebe shimmered with silver calm. One by one they gathered, until all stood beneath Uranus's endless dome. Gaia's voice trembled, though it was steady. My children, you walk freely upon me, and I love you all. But know this, within me your brothers stir. The hundred-handed ones and the Cyclopes long to breathe, yet they cannot. Your father presses against me, holding them down. His weight is heavy, and I suffer beneath it. The Titans looked at one another, their tall forms shifting uneasily. Rhea reached for her mother's slopes, her voice soft. Mother, I feel your sorrow, but what can we do? Father is vast as the sky itself. None among us can move him. Themis, fair and calm, spoke next. Perhaps he believes he acts in justice. Perhaps his fear guides him. Yet justice without mercy is no balance. It is only a shadow. Oceanus lifted his deep voice, his eyes as dark as the sea. Mother, I hear your plea, but I will not rise against the sky. His dome shelters my waters. His stars crown my tides. Without him, my rivers lose their shore. Hyperion's golden face turned upward. His voice was firm. He gave me fire, and I shine by his will. I cannot strike the hand that placed the sun in my grasp. Phoebe lowered her gaze, her silver eyes thoughtful. The sky is wide. To defy it is to defy fate itself. I will not join such a path. One by one, most of the Titans shook their heads, their voices gentle but firm. They would not act against Uranus. His presence was too vast, his power too great. Gaia's sigh rolled like a low wind across the plains. Her sorrow deepened, but she did not falter. She spoke once more, her voice carrying a quiet strength. If none will aid me, then my burden will remain. But know this, children, the world is not meant for silence alone. Balance must come, even if it arrives by the hand of one. Her words drifted across them all. Most lower their heads, silent, unwilling. But Cronus, youngest of the Titans, stepped forward. His eyes burned with quiet fire, his voice firm though low. Mother, I will help you. The circle stirred. Rhea gasped softly, placing her hand to her lips. Oceanus's rivers stilled, their murmuring pausing in shock. Hyperion's golden light wavered. Phoebe's silver gaze sharpened. Cronus stood tall, though younger, though smaller. Father does not listen. He binds what should not be bound. He burdens you, though you have given him everything. If no one else will act, then I will. Show me how, and I will ease your sorrow. Gaia's valleys trembled, her cliffs shivering with emotion. She lowered her voice, heavy with love and warning. My son, your spirit is sharp. Your hand is strong. But know this, such a path is not gentle. To rise against the sky is to change the world forever. Cronus's gaze did not waver. Then let it change, for without change you will break. And I cannot watch you suffer. The other Titans watched in silence. Some shook their heads in sorrow, some in fear. Rhea's eyes filled with tears, but she said nothing. Themis's lips tightened, though she did not speak. Iapetus, quiet and sharp-eyed, narrowed his gaze, but remained still. Gaia, moved by her son's resolve, began to shape her plan. Deep within her body, she gathered the strength of stone and the edge of the mountain. She pressed her will into the soil, forming a tool of sharpness, a blade carved not by hand but by her very essence. It gleamed with the power of earth itself, a curve of unyielding stone, cold and bright beneath the moonlight. When it was ready, she lifted it from the soil and placed it before Cronus. Her voice trembled as she spoke. Take this, my son, a sickle born of earth. Its edge is keen, its strength endless. With it, you may sever the bond that binds me. With it, you may end my suffering. The Titans gasped softly, their voices murmuring like wind in tall grass. None moved forward, none reached for the blade. But Cronus stepped to it without pause. His hand wrapped around the stone, its weight steady, its edge glowing faintly under Phoebe's moon. He lifted it, testing its strength, and it did not bend. His eyes narrowed, and his breath slowed. He held it as though it were a part of him, an extension of his will. Gaia's voice brushed against him, soft as a breeze. Cronus, do not act in haste. Choose your moment with care. When sky leans closest to me, when he lies heavy upon my body, then strikes. Only then will the world shift. Cronus bowed his head. I will wait, mother. And when the time comes, I will not falter. The circle of titans fell into silence. The night stretched wide above them. Uranus's stars shone faintly, unaware of the plan forming beneath him. The siblings stood uneasy. Some turned away, unwilling to watch. Others lingered, uncertain. Rhea pressed her hands to her chest, her heart heavy with fear and love for her brother. Gaia's valleys sighed, her forests rustled, her rivers whispered. The plan had been set, though the deed had not yet been done. Cronus stood with the sickle in his grasp, his eyes lifted toward the endless vault of his father. His breath was steady, his heart restless. The world around him was calm, but within him, the moment waited like a storm in silence. And high above, Uranus stretched wide, his stars glimmering cold, unaware that change now moved quietly through the soil, carried by the resolve of his youngest son. The nights drifted one after another, slow as the turning of the stars. Cronus held the sickle his mother had shaped, the stone blade sharp with Earth's own strength. He kept it near, hidden in shadows, yet always close at hand. Its weight was steady, never tiring him, as though Gaia herself guided his grip. The other titans watched him with unease. Some turned away when never their eyes caught the gleam of the blade. Some whispered among themselves, their voices low, afraid of the thought of what might come. But none spoke aloud against him, for his resolve was firm, and Gaia's sorrow was heavy upon them all. Rhea followed her brother often. Her steps were quiet, her face filled with both love and worry. One evening, as the sky darkened and Phoebe's silver glow spread across the valleys, she walked beside him. "Cronus," she whispered, her voice soft as the night breeze, "do you truly mean to use it? Do you truly mean to raise your hand against our father?" Cronus's eyes stayed fixed on the horizon, where the stars blinked cold and distant. "I do not wish to, sister. But mother suffers. The hidden ones cry out within her. Father does not listen. Someone must act, and I am the only one who will." Rhea lowered her gaze, her hands twisting gently before her. "I fear what will follow. To wound the sky is to wound the world. Do you not fear the cost?" Cronus's jaw tightened, his voice firm though calm. "I fear it, yes, but I fear the sorrow in mother's voice. I cannot let her carry it alone." Rhea fell silent. She reached for his hand, but did not touch it. Her eyes glistened, and her breath trembled, yet she said no more. The nights grew heavier, Uranus pressing lower upon Gaia as though sensing her unease. His stars blinked faintly, his vast body stretching close against her hills and mountains. The weight deepened, and the caverns within Gaia groaned with the shifting of her hidden children. Gaia whispered to Cronus in the rustle of leaves, in the sigh of rivers, in the tremble of stone. "Wait, my son. Do not rush. The moment will come when he lies closest, when his weight is greatest. Then, and only then, lift the sickle." Cronus obeyed. He waited, his breath steady, though his spirit stirred with restless fire. He watched the skies each night, his gaze sharp, his hand never far from the blade. The other titans carried on their lives, though unease lingered in their hearts. Oceanus let his rivers flow, their voices murmuring of uncertainty. Hyperion spread his golden light each day, but his flame burned with a shadow of doubt. Phoebe's glow at night was calm, yet her silver eyes often turned toward Cronus, watching him with quiet worry. Themis spoke softly to her sisters. "Justice must find its way. Perhaps it comes from Cronus's hand. Perhaps it does not. But silence cannot last forever." Mnemosyne, keeper of memory, closed her eyes and whispered, "I remember the laughter of our first days. I pray we may hear it again. Even if the path there is heavy." The world held its breath, waiting, though the rivers flowed and the forests whispered as before. The hidden children pressed harder against Gaia's caverns, their 100 arms straining, their burning eyes glowing brighter in the dark. They could not yet break free, but their strength shook the roots of the mountains. Gaia bore it all, her love endless, her patience steady, but her sorrow deep. She whispered to Cronus as the nights stretched long. "Be ready, my son. Soon the moment will come. Soon the sky will press too close, and then you must act." Cronus listened, his hand steady on the sickle. His heart beat slowly, yet each beat carried weight. He thought of his siblings above, of the rivers and forests, of the light and shadow. He thought of his brothers below, straining for freedom. He He thought most of his mother, who carried them all in silence. At times, doubt flickered within him. He would stand on the mountains, gazing at the stars, and whisper into the wind, "Father, if only you would listen. If only you would ease your hand, I would not need to raise mine." But the stars gave no answer. The sky remained heavy, his silence deeper than the oceans. One night the air grew still. No breeze stirred the trees. No ripple moved the rivers. The world seemed to wait, hushed and watchful. Above, Uranus spread lower than before, his body pressing close, his stars glimmering cold and dim. He lay heavy upon Gaia, so near that the mountains trembled beneath his weight. Gaia's voice rose, soft but firm, echoing through the soil into Cronus's heart. "Now, my son, the moment has come." Cronus stood, his breath calm though his spirit blazed within. He gripped the sickle, its stone edge shining faintly in Phoebe's light. The night around him seemed to still, every sound fading into silence. His siblings watched, some from near, some from far. Rhea pressed her hands to her chest, her heart pounding. Themis closed her eyes, her lips moving in a silent prayer. Oceanus's rivers hushed, their murmurs ceasing. Hyperion's light dimmed in sorrow. Phoebe's silver glow trembled faintly, though she did not look away. Cronus lifted the sickle high. His eyes were fixed on the vast dome of Uranus, his father, who leaned close, unknowing. The young Titan's voice was low, steady, almost a whisper. "For mother. For freedom." The world seemed to draw in its breath. The stars blinked, the rivers froze, the forest stilled. And Cronus, with a steady hand, moved toward the moment that would change the world forever. The stillness of that night was unlike any before. The stars seemed to pause in their shining, as if holding back their breath. The rivers hushed, their ripples frozen in silver light. Even the trees, swaying gently through endless ages, grew silent, their leaves unmoving in the air. Cronus stood in the quiet, the sickle in his hand. Its stone edge glimmered faintly, catching the soft glow of Phoebe's watchful light. His heart beat slowly, steady and sure, yet each pulse felt vast, as though echoing through the mountains themselves. Above, Uranus lay close upon Gaia, his body spread wide, heavy and unyielding. His stars blinked faintly, their once proud glow dim, as though he drifted in some distant thought, unaware of what stirred below. Gaia's whisper moved through the soil, soft and sorrowful, reaching the ear of her son. "Now, Cronus, now, my child, act, and the weight will be lifted. Be steady, be gentle, for all things will change." Cronus breathed deeply, his gaze never leaving the dome of the sky. His voice was low, a whisper meant only for the earth and the stars. "Mother, I do this for you. I do this for those who long to be free." He raised the sickle. Its curve gleamed, a crescent of stone shaped by love and pain. His hand did not tremble. His eyes held no hatred, only resolve, firm and steady, like the roots of a mountain. The blade moved through the air, quiet as falling dew. No clash rang out, no harsh cry followed. Only a soft shiver passed through the heavens, like the sigh of a long-forgotten wind. The cut was made, not loud, not violent, but deep enough to change the bond between earth and sky. Uranus stirred. His stars quivered, their light flickering, as if waking from a long dream. A groan spread through the dome of night, low and endless, rolling across the valleys and seas. Yet it was not a roar of anger, but a sound of surprise, of sorrow, as though the vast sky had never imagined such a touch could come. The sickle in Cronus's hand was wet with starlight, drops shining like molten silver. They fell to the ground, scattering across the soil, each one glowing where it landed. Some slipped into the sea, and there they would give rise to wonders yet unknown. Uranus's voice moved across the heavens, not sharp, but slow and heavy, like a storm still far away. "My son, you have struck me." His words echoed faintly, breaking into sighs that drifted among the clouds. "You would separate me from your mother. You would divide what has been joined since the first dawn." Cronus's chest rose and fell, his breath steady, though his spirit ached. He lowered his gaze for a moment, whispering not to the sky, but to the earth below. "It had to be. For her sake, for their sake. Forgive me if you can." The stars dimmed further. their glow soft as embers fading. Slowly, the weight of Uranus lifted. The vast dome of the sky pulled back, rising higher, no longer pressing so close upon Gaia's hills and valleys. The space opened, wide and free, where light and breath could move with ease. The earth sighed, her rivers stirring, her forests trembling with relief. The caverns deep within her no longer groaned under endless weight. For the first time, Gaia lifted her voice in a sound of release, gentle as rain falling on thirsty soil. The hidden children stirred. The hundred-handed ones stretched within their dark prison, their many arms quivering with hope. The Cyclopes opened their burning eyes wider, a glow filling the caves where they lay. They felt the weight ease, though they were not yet free, and they whispered in voices deep as thunder, "Change has come. The bonds may break." The titans above watched in silence. Rhea pressed her hands to her mouth, her breath quick and trembling. Themis bowed her head, whispering softly, "Justice has found its mark." Phoebe's silver light flickered gently, her calm face filled with quiet. Oceanus let his waters flow in ripples of wonder, carrying the memory of that moment into every stream and wave. Cronus lowered the sickle at last. His hand did not shake, though his spirit felt heavy, as though he had carried both sorrow and duty in one act. He gazed upward at the rising sky, the stars drifting higher, dimmer now, as Uranus moved farther away. The great voice of the sky came once more, softer now, like a fading echo. "Children of Earth, you have broken me. You have torn what was whole. I shall rise beyond your reach, but remember me, for I shall not be gone." And with those words, Uranus drifted upward, his stars spreading thin, his presence lighter. The bond between earth and sky was loosened, though never fully broken, for they would always gaze upon one another from afar. Cronus stood still, breathing in the new air that filled the space between. The world felt wider, freer, as though it could stretch and grow in ways it never had before. Yet his heart did not lift in triumph. He felt only the quiet weight of what had been done. Rhea stepped forward, her eyes full of both sorrow and wonder. "Brother," she whispered, "you have changed everything. The sky is no longer bound so close." Mother breathes again. Cronus turned to her, his face calm though his eyes were deep with thought. "Yes, the world is lighter. Yet the sound of his voice will not leave me." I did not wish to wound him. I wished only to give her peace. Gaia's voice rose from the soil, gentle as a mother's hand upon her child. "You have done what was needed, Cronus. The weight has lifted. My heart is free, though it still aches. Your courage has given breath to all who dwell upon me. For this, I thank you, my son." Cronus bowed his head, his grip loosening upon the sickle. He laid it upon the ground, the stone edge glowing faintly, as though still alive with starlight. He whispered, "May it never need to rise again." The stars above flickered faintly, distant and sorrowful, yet still watching. The rivers began to murmur once more, carrying soft songs through the land. The forest swayed gently, leaves rustling with quiet relief. The world settled into its new shape where earth and sky were parted, yet forever longing toward one another. And in that space between, a silence lingered. A silence full of wonder, of sorrow, a change not yet understood. The Titans looked at one another, their eyes filled with questions. What would follow now that the sky had been struck? What paths would open in the wide space above? Cronus did not answer. He only gazed at the horizon, where the stars faded and the first light of dawn began to rise. The dawn came quietly after the night of change. Soft light spread over the valleys, brushing the mountains in pale gold. The rivers shimmered as though they carried fragments of stars. The forest swayed slowly, each tree bending with a sound like a sigh of relief. Gaia breathed deeply, her voice moving through roots and soil. The burden she had carried for endless ages was lighter. She felt the space above her, the sky drawn higher, no longer pressing with the same unyielding weight. Her heart, though still heavy with sorrow, found a calm rhythm once more. Cronus stood upon a rise, watching the horizon. The sickle lay at his side, its edge dim, no longer burning with starlight. His eyes were steady, but his spirit was restless. He could not forget the sound of his father's voice. In the distance, the stars shimmered faintly, spread wide across the heavens. Their light flickered like breath struggling to remain. Slowly, a deep murmur rose, not sharp, not thunderous, but low like the endless roll of the sea. It was Uranus. His voice stretched across the skies, filling the space between heaven and earth. It was sorrowful, yet calm, touched with the weight of knowing what must come. Children of earth, his voice echoed, you have separated me from your mother. The bond is broken, yet it cannot be undone. I will rise higher, and the heavens will drift far above. You will look upon me, but you will not touch me again. The Titans listened, their faces lifted toward the stars. Some felt sorrow stir within them. Some felt awe at the vastness of their father's words. Rhea clutched her hands together, her eyes glistening, heart torn between love for her brother and pity for her father. Uranus's voice grew steadier, carrying a tone that felt older than time. Cronus, my son, you have lifted the blade. You have struck your father. You believe you are free, yet you shall know the weight of what you have done. For as you have risen against me, so shall another rise against you. The words spread like a wind through the Titans. They stirred the air, touched the waters, brushed the leaves of the forests. Each syllable settled deep in their hearts, heavy as stone. Cronus lifted his gaze to the sky. His face did not change, calm as the mountains, but his chest tightened with unease. If that is my path, he said quietly, I will walk it. I did not strive to rule, but to free myself. If sorrow follows, I will bear it. Uranus's stars glimmered faintly, as though hearing his words. The voice rolled again, soft but certain. You speak of freedom, yet you shall sit upon the throne of time. You shall be king among your kind, yet your fear will chain you. For you will remember me, and you will wait for the hand that shall one day strike as you have struck. The Titans looked toward Cronus. None spoke, yet their eyes carried questions. Would he truly rule them? Would their father's prophecy come to pass? Gaia's voice rose gently, like the murmur of roots beneath the earth. Do not tremble, my children. What is spoken will unfold as it must. For the world grows through change, and each step leads to another. Oceanus let his rivers flow louder, carrying the echo of Uranus's prophecy into distant lands. The waters whispered, as he has struck, so he shall be struck. The cycle shall turn. Themis, quiet and thoughtful, bowed her head. Justice walks in circles. What one hand gives, another hand shall take. It is the way of balance. Rhea turned to Cronus, her voice low, filled with gentle worry. Brother, will you let his words bind you? Will you live in fear of what may come? Cronus shook his head slowly. His tone was calm, though a shadow lingered within it. I will not live in fear. Yet I cannot forget his voice. It will always walk with me. Above, Uranus's stars shifted, spreading farther, their glow faint as morning brightened. His voice grew softer, fading with the light. Remember, children of earth, what is born of blood and sorrow carries seeds of destiny. Watch the seas, watch the foam, for from them shall rise one who bears both beauty and power. The words lingered, mysterious and vast. The Titans looked to one another, unsure of their meaning. Only Gaia's eyes softened with a quiet knowing, though she did not yet speak. Then the voice faded, leaving only the sky stretched wide, the stars dim in daylight, silent once more. The world felt different. The air carried new space, fresh and open, yet touched by prophecy. The Titans breathed deeply, yet their hearts were restless. Change had come, but so had warnings. Cronus remained still, his gaze fixed on the place where his father's voice had lingered. He felt no triumph, only the slow weight of time pressing into him. He whispered, so softly only the earth could hear, If I am to carry the burden, I will. But I will not let it break me. Gaia's voice rose again, gentle, filled with love. My son, you have given me breath. Whatever comes, you will not stand alone. Remember that, always. The mountains stood tall around them, their peaks glowing in morning light. The rivers sparkled, carrying whispers of prophecy into the seas. The forests swayed softly, their leaves rustling like quiet secrets. The Titans looked upon their brother, some with awe, some with unease. The world was wide now, freer than before, but the future stretched before them with shadows they could not yet see. And as the day unfolded, a gentle anticipation filled the air, as though the earth itself waited for what would come from the sea, from the stars, from the hearts of the children of earth and sky. The world was quiet after the voice of Uranus faded. The heavens had lifted, their weight eased, but his presence lingered still in the starlight. His sorrow touched the edges of the earth, carried like a memory in the soft air. Cronus set the sickle down upon the ground and stepped back. His chest rose and fell, his breath steady, though his spirit carried the weight of what had been done. His eyes turned off into the horizon, where the sea stretched wide, as though he felt something stirring there. The blood that had fallen from Uranus had scattered across Gaia's soil. Each drop gleamed like liquid starlight, sinking into the earth, seeping into the sea. From those shining drops, new life began to stir. Where the blood touched the soil, strange forms took root. From the ground rose beings unlike the Titans, shaped in shadows and darkness. They were the Furies, their hair long and dark, their faces stern. They carried the echo of anger, yet their steps were quiet, their presence a reminder of balance when wrongs were done. Themis watched them carefully. Her calm eyes glowed faintly in the morning light. "They are bored of his wound," she whispered, "yet they will walk as guardians of justice. When the world strays, they will rise." Cronus gazed upon them, his face unreadable. He said nothing, though he felt their eyes upon him. He turned instead to the sea. Far off, where the waves rolled endlessly, the blood of Uranus had mingled with the foam. The waters stirred, their surface shimmering as though holding a secret. The foam swelled, white as milk, curling and rising in gentle waves. The Titans gathered near the shore, drawn by wonder. The sea breeze touched their faces, cool and salt-scented. The sound of the waves was steady, soft, like a lullaby sung by the waters themselves. Then, from the foam, a form began to take shape. At first it was only light, glowing softly within the curling waves. Then it grew clearer, the outline of a figure, graceful and calm. Slowly she stepped forth, her feet brushing the foam, her body shining with a glow not of earth, not of stone, but of pure beauty. Her hair flowed long, like golden rivers touched with sunlight. Her eyes held the calm of the sea, endless yet gentle. Her skin glowed faintly, as though kissed by starlight. She was Aphrodite, born of the sea, born of sorrow and wonder, yet carrying within her the power of love and desire. The sea hushed as she rose. The waves stilled, their endless roll pausing in reverence. The foam curled gently around her feet, cradling her as though she were its child. The Titans watched in silence. None spoke, for words seemed small before her presence. Even Cronus, strong and steady, felt his breath catch in his chest. Rhea's hands loosened from their tight clasp, her face softening, her eyes wide with wonder. Gaia's voice moved softly through the shore, tender as a mother's song. From sorrow beauty rises. From the wound a gift blooms. She will walk among gods and mortals, carrying a power greater than stone or flame. Aphrodite's gaze turned upon them, calm, serene, filled with warmth. She did not speak, yet her presence was like a gentle embrace, reaching into each heart. The air itself seemed softer around her, touched with fragrance, touched with calm. Oceanus's rivers carried her image, his waters flowing more swiftly as if eager to share her presence with the farthest corners of the world. Hyperion's light brightened, golden beams stretching across the shore to greet her. Phoebe's pale glow lingered faintly, softening the shadows around her. Cronus lowered his head, his voice quiet, almost reverent. "She is not born of us, yet she belongs to all. May she bring gentleness where strife may rise." Aphrodite smiled faintly, her lips curving with calm grace. She stepped forward upon the foam, leaving no mark, her form untouched by the weight of earth. The sea followed her, the waves curling softly at her heels, as if unwilling to let her go. The Titans felt her presence stir something within them, soft longing, gentle warmth, a quiet ache of love. Even those who had known only the weight of duty and the sorrow of conflict felt new stirrings in their hearts. Gaia whispered once more, her voice deep and tender. "She is the gift hidden within the wound. Let her walk where hearts grow cold. Let her warm them." Let her be the bond that holds together what might break apart. The Furies lingered in the shadows, watching with steady eyes. Where they were stern, Aphrodite was gentle. When they were reminded of sorrow, she promised joy. Together, they carried balance, born of the same blood yet walking in different ways. As the day grew brighter, Aphrodite turned toward the horizon, her gaze far-reaching. She did not remain by the shore, but walked gracefully along the sea's edge, her steps carrying her toward places unseen. The waves followed her, their foam shimmering in her wake. The Titans watched until she faded from sight, her glow melting into the light of the day. Yet even when she was gone, the air still felt softer, touched by her presence. Cronus stood silent, his hand resting once more upon the sickle, though he did not lift it. His thoughts were heavy, yet the memory of Aphrodite's gentle glow lingered, soothing his restless spirit. Rhea drew closer to him, her voice quiet. "Brother, perhaps her presence will ease the sorrow left behind. Perhaps beauty will soften what anger has made." Cronus nodded faintly, his eyes still upon the horizon. "Perhaps. Yet father's voice still lingers." His words were not without weight. The sea rolled once more, steady and endless, carrying both prophecy and promise. The foam curled softly upon the shore, whispering of what had been born and what was yet to come. And the world, wider now with the sky lifted and the sea awakened, held its breath for the paths that would follow. The days after Aphrodite's rising unfolded in quiet wonder. The sea carried her memory, the rivers whispered her name, and even the wind seemed softer as they drifted across mountains and valleys. Yet beneath that calm, a shift was taking place. The Titans no longer looked to Uranus, for his voice had faded into distant stars. Their eyes turned instead toward Cronus, who had lifted the sickle and changed the shape of the world. Cronus walked often in silence, his steps steady, his gaze thoughtful. He did not speak of ruling, nor did he raise his hand to command. Yet wherever he went, the others followed, their eyes drawn to his strength, their ears waiting for his voice. Rhea watched her brother closely. She saw the burden in his eyes, the weight of both prophecy and choice. When the others turned to him for guidance, he did not push them away. Instead, he listened, and when he spoke, his words were firm, simple, steady. It began with small matters. Hyperion came to him when the golden light grew too strong, seeking counsel on how to balance its warmth. Cronus answered with calm thought, suggesting a gentler rhythm to the days. Oceanus sought him when his rivers spilled too wide, flooding the valleys. Cronus guided him to let some waters flow deeper into the seas. Each time the Titans listened. Each time his voice carried quiet authority, and slowly, without proclamation, he became the one they followed. One evening, as the silver glow of Phoebe touched the hills, the Titans gathered. They sat upon stones and grass, their forms vast and glowing beneath the rising stars. The air was cool, carrying the scent of earth after rain. Themis rose first, her face calm, her voice even. "We have been without a guide, for Father has risen beyond us. Yet the world grows, and choices must be made. I see no hand but Cronus's to lead us now." Phoebe nodded, her silver eyes soft. "He carries steadiness within him. The stars do not tremble in his presence. He is fit to hold the balance." Oceanus's rivers murmured, their waves curling at his feet. "The waters will follow him, for he speaks with thought, not haste." One by one, the Titans agreed. Some with words, some with silent nods, their eyes settling upon Cronus. Cronus stood slowly, his shadow long against the moonlit ground. His voice was low, but it carried through the air with quiet strength. "If you would have me as a guide, then I will not refuse. But know this, I do not seek to rule as Father ruled. I will not press upon you as weight upon stone. Each of you carries power. Each of you holds light. I will walk beside you, not above you. Yet when decisions must be made, I will bear the burden." The Titans bowed their heads, accepting his words. Rhea's gaze lingered upon him, both proud and worried. She whispered softly, "May your heart remain gentle even as time grows heavy." Gaia's voice rose from the soil, deep and tender, carrying across the gathering. "My son, you who freed me, you now take the throne of time. Guard it with care, for the world will grow from your hand. Remember always the prophecy, yet do not let it bind you. Lead with balance, and the earth shall thrive. Cronus lowered his head. His hand brushed against the sickle where it lay upon the ground. He did not lift it, but its curve glowed faintly, a reminder of both his strength and his burden. The Titans rose together, their voices murmuring like wind through the trees. They stepped into the night, each carrying a piece of the new order. The age of Uranus had passed. The age of Cronus had begun. In the days that followed, the world grew under his guidance. The rivers flowed in harmony, their courses guided by Oceanus's wisdom. The sun's golden flame rose and set in steady rhythm, Hyperion's light balanced with Phoebe's calm silver glow. The forests thickened, filled with the songs of unseen creatures, the first living voices rising in soft chorus. Cronus walked the valleys, his hand brushing the tall grasses. He listened to the rustle of leaves, to the soft roll of waves, to the deep hum of the earth beneath his feet. The world spoke to him, and he listened. Yet even as peace spread, the memory of Uranus's words lingered. As you have risen against me, so shall another rise against you. The prophecy whispered in the quiet, never loud, but never absent. Cronus carried it within, though he did not speak of it. At times, he would gaze upon the sea, watching the foam curl upon the waves, remembering Aphrodite's rising. He would wonder if she carried some part of that prophecy within her beauty. At other times, he would look upon his siblings and wonder if among them lay the hand that would one day turn against him. But he kept these thoughts close. To the others, he was steady, calm, a leader whose presence soothed their worries. He bore his unease as one bears the weight of a mountain, quietly, without complaint. Rhea remained near him. She spoke with him often in the soft hours of dusk, when the air grew cool and shadows stretched long. She reminded him of gentleness, of the need for warmth as well as strength. Cronus listened, his heart eased by her words, though the shadow of prophecy never fully lifted. Thus the world entered a new rhythm, the age of the Titans. Time moved with steady flow, carried by Cronus's hand. The earth grew, the seas widened, the sky lifted higher, its stars distant yet watchful. And in the quiet space between, a sense of wonder lingered. For though peace reigned, the seeds of change had already been sown, hidden in prophecy, waiting for the day they would stir. The new age unfolded with the calm of morning light. The heavens glowed clear, the rivers wound their silver paths, and forests thickened with soft whispers of life. Cronus guided the turning of time, and under his hand, the world entered a season of peace. It was said that in those days, the earth knew no sorrow. The soil yielded fruit without toil, and the trees bent easily with sweetness. Rivers gave their waters freely, cool and gentle, nourishing valleys wide and green. Even the winds carried kindness, rustling through branches like a soft lullaby. The Titans moved through this abundance with grace. Hyperion walked the skies, his golden flame steady, never burning too fiercely. Selene drifted beside him, her silver glow softening his light. Oceanus flowed endlessly, his rivers weaving songs across the land. Themis shaped laws, though they were unwritten, for harmony came naturally to all. Mortals had not yet been born, but whispers of their coming lingered in the breath of Gaia, in the stirring soil, in the pulse of the seas. The world seemed to wait, as though holding its breath for what would someday awaken. Cronus sat often upon high hills, where he could see the expanse of his domain. His eyes traced the curve of rivers, the flight of birds, the endless stretch of sky above. He felt the peace of what he had shaped, yet within him lay a weight he could not set aside. He remembered the words of Uranus, spoken with final breath. As you have risen against me, so shall another rise against you. The prophecy whispered to him still. It was not a voice in the air, but a stirring inside, as if the rhythm of time itself carried the warning. When Cronus lay upon the grass, gazing at the stars, he wondered, would it be one of his siblings who would rise against him? Or would it be a child yet unborn, carrying within them the strength to topple what he had built? Rhea often found him in such moments. She would sit beside him, her hands resting lightly on the earth, her eyes soft with quiet thought. You carry shadows in your gaze, she said one night, when the stars burned silver above them. Cronus turned his head, his voice low. I still hear Father's words. They cling to me as vines to stone. I wonder who it is that will rise and when. Ria's hand touched his. Her voice was calm, steady, like the rhythm of the earth itself. Do not let fear guide you. The prophecy may yet be distant. The world is young, and it thrives beneath your care. Trust the life that grows. Cronus listened, his heart eased by her nearness, yet the unease did not vanish. It lingered, quiet but insistent, like a faint tremor beneath the soil. In the Golden Age, the Titans gathered often to share in peace. They sang songs that echoed like soft winds through the valleys. They danced upon a grass, their steps light, their laughter carrying gently through the air. Even the mountains seemed to join, their peaks glowing softly under the moon. Prometheus, though not yet known for his later deeds, sat near the rivers and watched the world with curious eyes. He studied the flow of waters, the patterns of stars, the way fire sparked when stones struck together. Quietly, he learned, though he spoke little. Epimetheus lingered beside him, less thoughtful, yet filled with wonder at every sight. He touched the leaves, marveled at the shells by the sea, and laughed at the play of shadows. The brothers, though young in spirit, carried a sense of something yet to come. Cronus saw them and felt both pride and unease. For though they were gentle, he knew that from such sparks might rise flames unseen. As seasons passed, the peace of the Golden Age spread across every corner of the earth. Flowers bloomed endlessly, their colors soft yet bright. Birds filled the skies with song, their notes gentle as morning rain. The air itself seemed lighter, touched by calm. Yet prophecy never rests. It lies hidden, waiting, even in times of joy. And though Cronus did not yet know when the shadow would stir, he felt it close. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the western waves, he sat beside Rhea once more. The horizon glowed with soft fire, the sea shimmering gold. "Do you believe," he asked quietly, "that peace can last forever?" Rhea turned her eyes to the sea. Her voice was slow, thoughtful. "Peace is like the tide. It comes, it lingers, but it must also shift. Yet when it shifts, it makes way for new rhythms, new songs. Do not fear its change, Cronus. Guide it instead." Her words lingered with him, soft and steady. And though he could not let go of the prophecy, he felt, for a moment, the comfort of her presence. The golden rain continued, each day a mirror of calm. Yet beneath its still surface, the wheel of time turned, carrying within it the quiet certainty that change would come. And in the heart of Cronus, the question grew stronger. When the day arrived, would he be ready? The evenings in the age of the Titans grew long and soft, stretching across valleys bathed in golden light or silvery moonbeams. Cronus and Rhea often walked together during these quiet hours, their steps lit against the moss-covered stones. The wind carried the scent of the forests, fresh pine, damp earth, and the faint sweetness of unseen blossoms. Even the rivers, flowing endlessly through the valleys, seemed to murmur in gentle cadence to their movements. Cronus rarely spoke first. His gaze often drifted to the horizon, where the sky met the mountains, or to the distant glimmer of the sea. Yet Rhea's presence brought a quiet warmth to him, easing the restlessness he felt beneath the surface. "Do you ever tire of this stillness?" Rhea asked one evening, her voice soft, barely louder than the sigh of a breeze through the leaves. Cronus shook his head slowly. "No. Stillness brings clarity. It allows me to see the world as it truly is, free from weight, from fear, from shadows pressing close." He paused, then added quietly, "Yet even in calm, a question lingers." Rhea tilted her head, her hair catching the moonlight like strands of silver. "What question?" Cronus took a deep breath, letting the rhythm of the earth beneath his feet steady him. "The prophecy. Father's words. They did not end with his departure. He spoke of another who would rise against me. I cannot tell if it will be one of our children, or someone beyond our sight. But the thought, it lingers." Rhea reached for his hand, her touch gentle, grounding. "Cronus, do not let it shadow your heart. We cannot live in fear of what may come. The world itself is alive, and life will unfold as it must. We can guide it, yes, but we cannot see all the ends before they arrive." Cronus squeezed her hand, feeling the warmth of her presence seep into him. "You speak with wisdom, as always." Yet the unease persists, soft as a murmur beneath a stream. I feel it even in times of peace. They continued their walk, stepping along the gentle slopes of hills covered in wildflowers and grass. The petals brushed against their legs, soft and cool, and the air was alive with the scent of rain from earlier showers. The stars above began to blink into life, one by one, casting faint silver reflections across the rivers below. Rhea paused, looking at Cronus with quiet understanding. Then let us prepare not out of fear, but out of care. For the children we may have, for the world we shape, we can nurture what comes with love and guidance. Cronus nodded. A small smile brushed his lips, though his eyes remained thoughtful. Yes, you are always steady when my thoughts wander into shadow. It is your presence that reminds me there is more than prophecy in the world. There is life, there is hope, there is care. As they spoke, the forests around them seemed to lean closer. Leaves rustled with gentle approval. Owls blinked from hidden branches, their quiet eyes observing the pair. Even the wind seemed to listen, curling softly around them, carrying their words across valleys and streams. Rhea sighed a soft sound, letting herself lean slightly against Cronus's arm. I have wondered often, she said quietly, what our children will be. Will they be gentle, like the rivers and stars, or strong and unyielding, like the mountains themselves? Will they carry our hearts, or the shadow of what is past? Cronus's gaze softened, resting on her profile. Perhaps they will carry both. The world shapes them, and we shape the world. We cannot know their hearts until they grow, but we can guide them with care and with patience. A small breeze swept across the hilltop, carrying petals into the air like drifting stars. Cronus inhaled the scent, closing his eyes briefly, and felt the earth beneath him steady and real. It reminded him that even prophecy could not erase the tangible, the gentle pulse of life around him. For long moments, they walked in silence, each step a meditation, each glance a connection deeper than words. The stars above gleamed faintly, the first fireflies began to spark across the grass, and the river's soft murmur echoed the calm rhythm of the night. Finally, Cronus spoke again, softer than before. I do not know what the future holds, but I know that as long as you are near Rhea, there is a strength in me that even prophecy cannot take. Rhea's eyes shone with gentle light, and there is no greater strength than that which comes from trust and care. We will face the world together, and our children, when they come, will walk with the same guidance. They will learn from us, yes, but also from the calm we carry into the world. The moon rose higher, casting a silver glow across the hills. Shadows lengthened, and the quiet rustle of life in the forests and rivers seemed to echo their words. Cronus took a deep breath, feeling the vastness of the world spread before him. The rivers, the forests, the mountains, and the sky lifted high above. A sense of quiet anticipation lingered. Though the Golden Age held peace, the seeds of change were beginning to stir, small and subtle, like tiny buds beneath winter soil. Cronus felt them in the air, in the soft shiver of leaves, in the gentle curl of the river. He did not fear them. He only watched, steady and mindful. Rhea's hand remained in his, her warmth a steady reminder of the strength they shared. When the time comes, she said softly, our children will rise, and we will be there for them, as the world rises with them. Cronus nodded, letting himself rest in the calm of that moment. For the first time in many nights, he felt the prophecy not as a weight, but as a whisper, one he could listen to without fear, one that might guide rather than bind. The world around them exhaled, as though sharing in their quiet hope. The rivers sparkled under the moonlight, the forests breathed in gentle rhythm, and even the hills seemed to settle into the calm of night. The age of the Titans continued, and within it, a new layer of life and anticipation stirred quietly, waiting for the gentle touch of tomorrow. And in the hearts of Cronus and Rhea, the first gentle thought of their children began to grow, not with fear, but with care, curiosity, and the softest thread of wonder. The days of the Golden Age flowed like gentle rivers, each one carrying warmth and light. Cronus and Rhea often walked together beneath the skies, listening to the rustle of leaves, the soft murmur of rivers, and the faint whisper of distant waves. The world itself seemed at peace, yet within the quiet heart of Gaia, a new rhythm began to stir, a rhythm soft and life-giving. Rhea felt it first, the gentle pull of new life beneath her, as subtle as a breeze brushing her skin. She paused atop a hill, the grass soft beneath her feet, and rested her hands upon her belly. The wind kissed her face, carrying the scent of pine, earth, and distant blossoms. The rivers murmured below, their waters singing quietly as though celebrating the beginning of something new. Cronus stood close beside her, steady and calm. His hand covered hers, pressing gently, feeling the faintest stirrings within. "Do you feel it?" he asked softly, his voice like the distant roll of gentle waves. Rhea nodded, her eyes wide with quiet wonder. "Yes, a life is moving inside me. It is small and soft, yet I can feel its presence everywhere, like the heartbeat of the earth beneath us." Cronus's gaze drifted over the horizon. The sky glowed faintly with the first blush of morning, the sun spilling soft gold across valleys and rivers. He felt a mixture of awe and gentle concern, a prophecy still lingering like a shadow at the edge of his mind. Yet the sight of Rhea, serene and radiant, eased the weight within him. "The world is calm," he murmured. "And yet we are about to add new voices to its song." Rhea smiled faintly, her breath deep and steady. "Let them come slowly, as the rivers carry water. Let them grow with care, with warmth, and with love." The first child came with the hush of evening, the sky glowing silver and soft. Rhea rested in a hollow between hills, the earth cool beneath her, and Cronus held her hand. The air smelled of rain-soaked soil, the soft perfume of flowers, and the salt of distant seas carried by the breeze. The child's first cry was quiet, almost a whisper, blending with the hum of the earth and the rustle of trees. Cronus leaned close, his eyes shining with gentle awe. "A son," he murmured, his voice steady but full of wonder. "He is strong and soft at once, like the first dawn." Rhea cradled the child against her, feeling warmth radiate into her arms. "Hestia," she whispered, "our first, she shall carry the calm of home, the warmth of hearth and heart." The Titans gathered quietly around, their presence gentle and reverent. Hyperion's golden light softened, Phoebe's silver glow mingled with it, and Oceanus's river shimmered in reflection. Even the forests seemed to lean closer, their leaves brushing softly against one another in a sound like applause. As the days passed, Rhea rested while Cronus walked beside her. The child grew in strength with each heartbeat, her eyes opening slowly to the soft light of the world. The earth seemed to cradle her, and every small sound, wind, water, leaves, was like a lullaby. Then came the second child, quiet and gentle, yet filled with the pulse of life. Cronus held Rhea's hand once more, feeling the small movements beneath her palm. "A son," he said softly. "He will be steadfast, like the mountains, yet gentle in his steps." Rhea smiled faintly, brushing her hair from her face. "Poseidon," she whispered, naming the child for the strength of water, the endless flow of rivers, and the calm of the deep seas. Each child brought with him new threads of life into the Golden Age. As Rhea's belly grew and the children came into the world, Cronus's hands were always steady, his presence constant. He marveled at the softness of their fingers, the tiny rise and fall of their chests, the warmth of life so new and delicate. Yet even in these quiet moments, the whisper of prophecy lingered. Cronus could feel it beneath the calm, like the faint shiver of a breeze before a distant storm. He wondered whether these children, so small and tender, might one day carry the power to change everything he had built. He spoke little of it aloud, for fear would unsettle the peace of these days. Instead, he watched, he guided, and he learned to walk gently with life growing in his hands. The forests whispered lessons in patience, the rivers murmured lessons in resilience, and the wind sang the rhythm of time. One night, as the silver glow of Phoebe spread across the hills, Cronus held both children in his arms, feeling their warmth pressed close. Rhea rested beside him, her head on his shoulder, and the world seemed to breathe in quiet harmony. "They are ours," he whispered, more to himself than to her. "And yet they are more than ours. They are the world, the rivers, the skies, and perhaps the prophecy itself." Rhea nodded softly, her eyes heavy with gentle thought. "Let them grow slowly, Cronus. Let them feel the calm of the world, the patience of the earth, and the gentle care of their parents. They will be strong, but not yet. Not until the time comes." And so, under the soft light of the moon, The first children of Cronus and Rhea rested in the arms of their parents. The forest swayed softly, the rivers whispered gently, and even the hills seemed to cradle the small lives growing in safety. The Golden Age continued, touched now with the quiet wonder of new beginnings, and the gentle hint of the prophecy that waited silently, unseen, for the unfolding of time. The air carried the softest sense of anticipation, not harsh or frightening, but like the hush before the first note of a lullaby. The world seemed to pause, listening to the small breaths of life, knowing that these children, so gentle and soft, would one day shape the course of all that was yet to come. The world remained calm under the Golden Age. The rivers flowed in gentle harmony, the forests whispered softly with life, and the mountains glowed faintly in the warm sunlight. Yet even amidst this quiet, a subtle shift stirred in Cronus's heart. Each child that Rhea bore brought joy and wonder, their small lives illuminating the world like newly risen stars. Hestia, gentle and serene, carried warmth in her every breath. Poseidon, strong yet calm, seemed already to hold the rhythm of the seas within him. The earth itself seemed to rejoice at their presence, leaves brushing softly against one another, and the wind carrying their laughter in gentle arcs. Cronus watched them often, his hands resting lightly on the soft curve of Rhea's belly or upon the small shoulders of his children. His gaze was steady, his voice calm, yet beneath it lingered a shadow, quiet and almost imperceptible. The prophecy of Uranus whispered still, like a distant wind moving through trees. Rhea noticed it sometimes, in the way he paused mid-step, or how his eyes lingered on the horizon as though expecting something unseen. She would rest her hand on his arm and speak softly. "You cannot carry all the world in your thoughts, brother," she murmured one evening, her voice gentle as the ripple of a river. "Let the children grow. Let the world be. You cannot control what the future whispers, only what you do today." Cronus nodded, his hands resting over hers. "I know," he said quietly, though the words did not fully ease the shadow within. "And yet, it is there beneath the calm. I feel it, subtle as a stir in the grass before the wind arrives." As the days passed, the births continued. The second daughter came, soft and bright, her tiny hands reaching instinctively toward the warmth of her mother's embrace. Rhea cradled her with tenderness, whispering her name. "Demeter," she said softly. "She will carry the earth in her heart, the fields and the flowers, the quiet growth of life itself." Cronus watched, feeling the weight of both wonder and worry. The prophecy seemed to twist faintly in his thoughts, each child a reminder of the promise that one day someone would rise against him. Yet each child also brought joy beyond measure, a soft light that soothed even the faintest shadow of fear. Rhea sensed his unease and drew him aside one quiet night. The moon glimmered silver over the hills, reflecting softly in the rivers that cut like gentle ribbons across the land. Fireflies drifted lazily in the air, their glow faint but steady. The forest breathed around them, leaves brushing softly as though to listen. "You cannot see the future," Rhea said, her voice low, steady. "And even if prophecy speaks, it is not yet. These children are small. They grow slowly, like the rivers carving paths through stone. Let them flow in their own way. Trust them as I trust you." Cronus drew a deep breath, the cool night air filling his chest. "I want to trust," he murmured, "and I do. But the thought of what may come, it is hard to ignore. Perhaps it is not fear that stays with me, but responsibility. The weight of their lives, of the world, of what has already been set in motion." Rhea smiled faintly, pressing her hand against his. "Then carry it gently, like a leaf on a stream, not a stone in your hand. Let them grow with love, not fear. Let the world breathe with them, not under your shadow." And so Cronus learned to balance, though the shadow lingered softly. He walked with the children through forests, teaching them to notice the way light shifts through leaves, how rivers reflect the sky, how mountains hold their patience through ages. The children laughed in the sunlight, their voices delicate, carrying the soft rhythms of life. Even in the quiet joy, the unease returned as more children were born. Hades, small and solemn, seemed already to hold shadows in his gaze. Hera, bright and thoughtful, brought warmth to the hearts of all who saw her. Each child was a soft miracle, yet each stirred faintly the echo of prophecy in Cronus's mind. He would watch them sleep in the soft glow of dawn, the light brushing over their small faces, and feel a gentle ache in his heart. It was not sorrow nor fear, only the quiet recognition that the future was not yet his to shape completely. Life would grow in its own way, and he could only guide it with care. Rhea stayed close, her presence steady and calm. She whispered encouragement into the nights, her words like soft wind over the hills. They will rise in their time, and when the moment comes, you will see the strength they carry, as I see it now. Cronus listened, feeling the weight of her words settle like soft earth around him. He touched each child's hand, feeling warmth, small heartbeats, the pulse of life that carried within them both promise and mystery. The prophecy was there, yes, but so was the world, alive and full, unfolding in rhythms he could almost understand. Even the forests and rivers seemed to acknowledge the balance of joy and unease. Leaves rustled softly, the water moved with gentle persistence, and the wind carried whispers through the valleys. The Golden Age continued, yet within it was the soft hum of what might come, hidden beneath the lull of everyday life. Cronus walked often beneath the stars, holding the quiet in his chest. The prophecy lingered, not as a shout, but as a whisper, and the children slept peacefully under the calm sky. The tension of the unseen future and the joy of the present existed together, each softening the other, like moonlight on water. In this way, the age of the Titans deepened, touched by both gentle light and quiet shadows. The children grew slowly, the world thrived, and Cronus learned to carry the prophecy not as a weight, but as a faint rhythm, always present but never overwhelming. And in the hush of the night, as the rivers murmured and the forest sighed softly, he held Rhea's hand and thought of the small lives around him. Each breath, each heartbeat, each soft laugh or sigh was a thread in the vast tapestry of the world, weaving the Golden Age together with both love and gentle caution. The quiet unease would remain, but was tempered by the soft glow of family, of new life, and the slow, steady flow of time. And in that delicate balance, Cronus discovered a rhythm that brought both vigilance and peace, a rhythm that would carry him through the days ahead, under the watchful stars and the gentle gaze of Gaia. The days in the Age of the Titans passed with gentle rhythm, each one flowing into the next like a soft river over smooth stones. The sunlight stretched over forests and fields, touching the rivers with gold and warming the hills with calm radiance. Birds sang quietly, their melodies weaving through the air like threads of sound, while the winds drifted lazily across valleys, carrying the faint scent of blossoms and fresh earth. Cronus moved among the children often, watching them grow with Hestia remained gentle and serene, always observing with wide, curious eyes. Poseidon followed the rivers, delighting in their endless movement, laughing softly as water splashed his small hands. Demeter lingered among the grasses and flowers, her tiny fingers brushing petals and leaves, feeling the heartbeat of the earth beneath her touch. Hades, quiet and solemn, seemed already to ponder the mysteries hidden in shadows, while Hera's bright laughter echoed across the hills like a soft chime in the wind. Each child brought joy beyond measure, yet with each passing day, the shadow of prophecy whispered faintly in Cronus's heart. It was not loud nor harsh, but subtle, like a faint echo through a deep canyon. It stirred quietly, gently pressing against his thoughts, reminding him that time held secrets beyond his control. He walked off into the hills at dusk, where the sky melted from gold to soft pink, then to the deep blues and purples of night. The first stars began to twinkle, tiny points of silver light stretching across the heavens. Here, with the air cool against his skin and the soft rustle of leaves around him, he allowed his thoughts to drift. "I see them," he whispered one evening, his voice low, almost a part of the wind. "They grow so quickly, and yet the prophecy waits. Is it one of them, or another? I cannot know, but I feel it." Rhea stepped beside him, her hand brushing gently against his arm. "You carry it too heavily, brother. The prophecy is not yet, and the children are still small. Let them grow in calm and love. That is all they and we can do." Cronus glanced at her, the glow of the sunset reflecting softly on her hair. Her presence steadied him, a quiet warmth in the cool evening. "I'll try," he said softly. "I try to hold it gently, to let it whisper rather than weigh. Yet even in this calm, I feel a stirring. Something not yet seen, but already present." Rhea nodded, understanding without pressing further. Together, They watched as the children played among the hills, the laughter of Poseidon mingling with the gentle murmur of the rivers, the soft rustle of leaves under Demeter's small hands, the delicate glow of Hestia's presence as she explored the quiet corners of the world. The Golden Age seemed endless in its calm, yet Cronus could not entirely shake the echo of Uranus's warning. It lingered like a faint scent on the breeze, subtle yet insistent. Even the forests, usually so comforting, seemed to hum with a soft undercurrent of awareness, as though the world itself sensed the small stirrings of time yet to come. One night, under a silvered moon, Cronus and Rhea sat beside the sleeping children. Their breaths were slow, deep, synchronized with the gentle pulse of the world around them. The rivers whispered softly in the distance, carrying the faint reflection of moonlight. The wind shifted quietly among the trees, brushing gently across the hills, and the stars above twinkled with a calm, steady glow. "They are safe," Rhea said softly, her voice barely a whisper. "For now." The world holds them gently, as it holds all life in this age. Cronus's gaze drifted across their faces, lit faintly by the moon. And yet, one day they may rise differently than we expect. One day, one of them may carry the hand to change all that I have shaped. I feel it not as fear, but as a reminder of care. Rhea's hand found his, resting lightly against his palm. "Then care gently. Let your love shape them, not the shadow of what may come. Teach them patience, teach them kindness, teach them to listen. That is the strength they will carry." Cronus nodded, letting the weight of her words settle like soft earth around his heart. The children slept peacefully, their small chests rising and falling with steady rhythm. Even Hades, usually quiet, lay curled softly against the earth, the faint glow of the moon illuminating his solemn face. Hera, Demeter, Poseidon, and Hestia all slumbered, their tiny breaths blending into the quiet music of the night. As he watched, Cronus realized that the prophecy, though ever present, was not a chain. It was a rhythm, subtle and slow, waiting like the tide that rises with time. His role was not to escape it, nor to bend it entirely, but to guide what could grow within its gentle flow. The wind shifted again, brushing across the hills, carrying petals from distant flowers. It touched the children's cheeks softly, like a caress, and the river's murmurs seemed to echo a lullaby. Cronus breathed deeply, feeling the pulse of the world, the rhythm of the stars, the heartbeat of life around him. "They grow quietly," he murmured to Rhea, "and yet I feel the future in their presence. Not fear, but possibility. And I must walk beside it gently as I walk beside them." Rhea smiled, a calm radiance under the moonlight. "Yes, possibility and care. That is all any age can hold, and that is enough." So the nights passed, soft and slow. The children slept, the rivers whispered, the forest sighed gently, and the stars held their silent watch above. Cronus walked among them, steady and mindful, carrying the quiet echo of prophecy not as burden, but as rhythm. The Golden Age endured, touched now with both wonder and gentle caution, the whisper of tomorrow always present, yet softened by love and the slow, steady growth of life. And in the hush of night, as moonlight spilled across the hills, Cronus realized that even shadows held a kind of calm. Even the whisper of what might come could be listened to with care, nurtured with patience, and walked alongside gently. For now, the children were small, the world was quiet, and the future, though hinted at in the faintest tones, was still soft enough for hope to bloom. The mornings in the age of the Titans began with a hush that stretched across the hills and rivers, soft as silk against the earth. Dew clung to leaves, shimmering like faint silver threads in the first light. The wind moved lazily through the trees, carrying the distant scent of wildflowers and the gentle aroma of rain-soaked soil. Even the mountains seemed to stretch and breathe under the early sun. Cronus walked among the children, who had grown slightly, their steps more assured, their laughter rising in soft arcs through the valleys. Hestia's small hands traced the edges of stones and leaves, feeling textures with quiet curiosity. Poseidon followed the flow of a river, letting water curl around his fingers, his eyes bright with delight. Demeter wandered among wildflowers, feeling the warmth of earth and the pulse of life beneath her touch. Hades observed quietly from the shadows of trees, and Hera's laughter rose above the hills like the chime of distant bells. Each child brought joy and warmth, Yet Cronus's quiet vigilance persisted. The prophecy whispered in the recesses of his mind, not as a harsh command, but as a faint echo, a reminder that time carried within it currents unseen. He did not wish to impose fear upon the children, but he felt the need to guide them gently, to watch over their growth without diminishing their freedom. Rhea walked beside him, sensing the subtle tension in his movements. Her hair caught the morning light, shimmering softly like threads of silver and gold. "You watch too closely," she said gently, "even when nothing threatens. Let them move and grow in the calm. The world itself will guide them in ways we cannot." Cronus looked down at her, his expression softening. "I know," he whispered. "And yet, the weight of what may come is always there, like a faint current beneath still waters. I wish only to protect them and to ensure the balance of this age." Rhea placed her hand over his. "Then watch with love, not with shadow. Let care be your guide, not the whisper of fear. They are small, and the world itself is gentle. For now, let that be enough." The next child came quietly in the soft light of dawn. Rhea rested in a hollow among the hills, the grass cool beneath her, while Cronus remained at her side. The air was filled with the gentle scent of blossoms and rain, the sound of distant rivers carrying their soft song. This child, a son, brought with him the subtle pulse of strength intertwined with serenity. Rhea held him gently, whispering his name, Hades. Even in quiet moments, he seemed aware of the rhythm of the world, his small hands reaching instinctively toward warmth and comfort. Cronus felt the weight of possibility in his presence, soft, delicate, yet unmistakably powerful. As the days continued, Cronus walked among the children, guiding without pressing, teaching without commanding. He showed Hestia how the soft light of the sun reflected across stones, how Poseidon could listen to the subtle rhythm of the rivers, and how Demeter could feel the gentle pulse of growth in the earth. Hades learned to watch and wait, his quiet gaze already holding an understanding beyond his years, and Hera's laughter continued to echo through the valleys, a bright counterpoint to the quiet of her siblings. Even in moments of play, Cronus's mind remained aware. He observed the smallest gestures, a hand brushing too roughly against a branch, a foot pressing too heavily upon soft moss. He corrected gently, with words like whispers, his touch light and steady, ensuring that the children felt the world's rhythm without fear. Rhea often watched him, her eyes soft with understanding and warmth. "You guide them well," she said one evening, as the sun dipped toward the horizon and painted the sky in soft hues of pink and gold. "Yet remember to let them breathe. Even rivers must flow freely, or they lose their song." Cronus nodded, feeling the weight of her wisdom. "I will try," he murmured, "and let the world guide them where I cannot. But the prophecy, it waits quietly. I cannot forget it entirely." Rhea placed her hand over his heart. "Then carry it softly. Let it be a gentle rhythm, not a heavy stone. Love them, teach them, and let the world shape them in its own time." The nights remained serene. Stars glimmered above like tiny lanterns, reflected faintly in rivers that wound through the valleys. The wind moved quietly through forests, brushing leaves and carrying scents of earth and blossoms. Cronus would often sit beside Rhea as the children slept, watching their gentle breaths, the rise and fall of small chests under the soft moonlight. "They are growing," he whispered, "and I see it now. The prophecy does not demand haste. It waits, like the tide, slow and inevitable. For now, I can simply be here and let them live." Rhea leaned against him, her voice soft and rhythmic. "Yes, be here. Be present. Let the children grow with care, and the world will hold them gently." That is all any age can ask. The Golden Age continued, touched now with the gentle pulse of life and possibility. The children explored the hills, played among flowers and rivers, and learned the quiet rhythms of the world around them. The forests seemed to sway in time with their laughter. The rivers carried the reflections of their tiny forms, and even the hills seemed to embrace them with calm and patience. Cronus walked among them, steady and mindful, carrying the faint whisper of prophecy not as burden, but as gentle awareness. He guided with soft hands and calm voice, ensuring that the children grew with love, patience, and quiet understanding. And so, under the warm sunlight, the soft rustle of forests, and the quiet hum of rivers, Cronus discovered a rhythm of vigilance that was not fear, but but care, a gentle watch that allowed the world to flow freely, even as he remained present, steady and mindful. The prophecy lingered still, but in the quiet of the Golden Age, it became a soft current, a whisper to be heeded lightly, and not a shadow to be feared. And in this way, the children grew slowly, gently, and with a calm assurance that life, guided by steady hands and patient hearts, could unfold in its own beautiful rhythm. The mornings of the Golden Age were soft and tender, stretching across hills and rivers in gentle ribbons of light. The air was cool with dew, carrying the scent of wet earth and blooming flowers. Birds rose with faint songs, and the wind drifted lazily, brushing the forests in delicate rhythms. Even the mountains seemed to breathe slowly, basking in the calm of early light. Cronus walked among his children, observing each small movement, every gesture of curiosity or delight. Hestia wandered near the hearths of fallen stones, touching the cool surfaces with delicate fingers, feeling the subtle warmth that still lingered from the sun. Poseidon followed the rivers, fascinated by the endless dance of water over stone, his small hands tracing the currents, delighting in the way droplets sparkled like stars. Demeter explored the meadows, her fingers brushing the tips of wildflowers, feeling the pulse of growth beneath the soil. She hummed softly to herself, attuning to the rhythms of the earth, already carrying a quiet connection to life cycles. Hades observed silently, often standing near shaded groves, his eyes thoughtful and calm, as if he were listening to the world's quiet secrets. Hera darted lightly among the hills, laughter spilling like soft chimes, her energy bright yet unhurried. Cronus followed them all with gentle attention. He spoke little, letting their movements guide the day, yet every so often, his hand would brush against theirs, steadying a stumble, encouraging a careful step, or resting lightly over small shoulders. He felt the weight of responsibility not as fear, but as careful guidance, an awareness of their presence and potential in the world. Rhea watched him with quiet understanding. "You are steady," she said softly one morning as sunlight spilled across the hills, warming dew-soaked grass. "You guide them with care, not command. That is their greatest lesson now, to learn the world through love, not fear." Cronus nodded, gazing at the children. "I try," he murmured, "and yet the prophecy is always present. It is not loud nor harsh, but a rhythm beneath the surface, like the pulse of the earth itself." Rhea's eyes softened. "Let it be a rhythm, not a weight. They are small, and the world itself is gentle. Our care shapes them more than worry ever could." The children began to show signs of their unique traits. Hestia carried calm and steadiness, her small hands tending to every corner she explored. She often paused to feel the warmth of the sun on stones or to watch the subtle shimmer of river currents, quiet and attentive to the world. Poseidon's fascination with water grew, his tiny experiments with streams and rivers reflecting an early understanding of flow and movement. Demeter's connection to the earth was profound. She felt the subtle growth of plants, the gentle pull of soil and root, and her soft murmurs seemed to encourage life itself. Hades's quiet reflection deepened. He listened to the wind and the rustle of leaves as though deciphering a language only he could hear. Hera's energy blossomed in bright curiosity, exploring the hills and trees with laughter that left trails of joy in its wake. Cronus observed these traits with gentle pride, yet he could not ignore the quiet echo of prophecy. It whispered not in threat, but in reminder. Each child carried potential beyond their tender years. He felt it most in Hades, whose solemn awareness hinted at a depth yet unseen, and in Poseidon, whose quiet curiosity might one day ripple through the world with unseen power. Even so, Cronus walked lightly, guiding with soft words and gentle touches. "Watch the river, Poseidon," he would murmur. "Notice how it flows around stones, how it bends without breaking. Learn patience and care from its rhythm." To Hestia he said, "Feel the warmth of the stones, the sun on your skin. Let your heart learn the quiet strength that comes from calm." Demeter guided in subtle ways. "Touch the earth and listen. Life grows slowly, like the roots of trees, and we must move gently to honor it." Hades he did not correct, only observed, letting the child's silence teach him patience. Hera encouraged, "Run with joy, but notice the steps you take. Even laughter can carry rhythm if we listen." Rhea watched these gentle lessons unfold with quiet satisfaction. "You do well," she said softly one evening as the children rested, their small bodies tired from the day's exploration. They learn through love, not fear. That is all the world can ask. Cronus nodded, sitting beside her under the soft glow of a moon rising over hills. The rivers murmured in the distance, the forest sighed gently, and the stars blinked softly above. I see it, he whispered. They grow, and yet the future moves quietly. I feel the prophecy in subtle waves, not as a threat, but as a reminder. It does not rush. It waits. Rhea leaned against him, her voice rhythmic and calm. Then let it wait. Let them grow in gentle care, and the world will hold them as we do. That is enough for now. As the children slept that night, the hills wrapped them in gentle shadows. The rivers hummed their quiet lullaby, and the wind brushed softly through trees. Cronus and Rhea sat together, watching the rise and fall of small chests under the silvered light, feeling the slow, steady rhythm of life surrounding them. Cronus's vigilance did not fade, but it had softened. The prophecy's whisper was no longer a shadow pressing upon him, but a faint rhythm in time, a reminder of what could come, not a chain that bound the present. He held Rhea's hand and allowed himself to rest in the calm, knowing that for now, their children were safe, nurtured, and learning the rhythms of the world in their own gentle ways. The golden age continued, the sun rising and setting with quiet grace, rivers flowing in measured arcs, and forests swaying in soft applause. The children grew slowly, learning the small wonders of their world, guided by hands gentle and steady. And Cronus, carrying the quiet awareness of what may come, discovered that vigilance and care could coexist with love and calm. In the hush of the evening, as stars blinked awake and the moon cast silver across the hills, he realized that prophecy, though ever present, could be held lightly. Life's gentle rhythms, the laughter and curiosity of the children, and the calm guidance of their parents created a tapestry of care, possibility, and slow, steady growth. And in that quiet, Cronus understood that even the faintest whispers of the future need not overshadow the calm of the present. The children would grow in strength, wisdom, and gentle understanding, and for now that was enough. The mornings arrived slowly in the age of the Titans, stretching across the valleys and hills like ribbons of soft gold. Light fell gently across the rivers, glinting off ripples that moved lazily over stones. The forest stirred quietly, leaves brushing softly against one another, and distant mountains shimmered under the early sun. Cronus moved among the children, who had grown steadily, their movements more confident, their curiosity deepening. Hestia lingered by a sunlit patch of stones, her small hands tracing cool surfaces, feeling warmth and texture alike. Poseidon knelt at the riverbank, carefully guiding small currents with his fingers, delighting in the ripple of water that followed his touch. Demeter wandered through meadows, crouching to examine the soil, the growth of grasses, the subtle swell of buds yet to bloom. Hades stayed often in quiet groves, observing the world with thoughtful, wide eyes. Hera's laughter rang across the hills, bright yet soft, a gentle counterpoint to the quieter moments of her siblings. Cronus watched, steady and mindful. Each child displayed their own rhythm, their unique qualities emerging subtly in play and exploration. He felt a mixture of quiet pride and gentle concern. The prophecy, a whisper from the past, lingered beneath his thoughts, not as alarm, but as a gentle rhythm that reminded him of the weight of time. Rhea noticed his thoughtful gaze as she approached him along a shaded hill. Her hair caught the soft sunlight, casting a warm glow over her face. "You think too much," she said softly, brushing her hand lightly over his arm. "The children grow. They learn the world through its rhythms, and not through our fear." Cronus nodded, breathing in the calm air, scented faintly with earth and blooming flowers. "I know," he murmured. "Yet even in the quiet, I feel it, a current that cannot be ignored. It is not an alarm, nor a warning, only awareness, a gentle nudge from time, reminding me to hold both care and vigilance." Rhea smiled faintly, placing her hand over his. "Then let your care be gentle as you have been. Let vigilance rest lightly in your chest, like a leaf floating on a stream. The children will grow, guided by the rhythms you provide, and the world will hold them as well." Cronus turned his gaze toward the children, watching Hestia carefully arrange stones in a small circle, Poseidon redirecting a tiny stream over mossy banks, Demeter pressing her fingers into rich soil, Hades observing the flutter of leaves, and Hera skipping lightly across the hillside. Each child carried promise, potential, and a soft uniqueness that made Cronus's heart swell. The prophecy waits, he said quietly, almost to himself, like a tide beneath the calm. It does not hurry. And perhaps that is a gift. I do not need to shape it now, only to guide what is before me. Rhea rested beside him, her eyes soft with understanding. Yes, the present is all we can hold. The future moves slowly, in quiet ripples. Let them explore, let them grow. That is the truest care we can give. Evening fell slowly, painting the sky in gentle shades of pink, lavender, and deepening blue. The rivers reflected the soft colors, moving with a rhythm that seemed in harmony with the children's laughter. Cronus and Rhea walked among them, their hands brushing softly across the tops of grasses, their feet pressing lightly into mossy hills, guiding without imposing. The children's curiosity was boundless. Poseidon traced the path of small fish in a shallow stream, fascinated by the way water carried them onward. Demeter bent low to examine the veins of leaves and petals, noticing the faint glow of life within. Hades, quiet yet observant, seemed to note every shadow, every subtle shift in the wind or rustle of branches. Hestia arranged smooth stones along the banks of a pond, her small hands moving carefully, deliberately, as though shaping calm itself. Hera darted between trees, her soft laughter blending with the gentle whisper of the wind. Cronus guided with quiet words and gentle touches, letting the children explore while instilling a sense of patience and awareness. Notice the river, he said to Poseidon, softly. It flows around every stone without resistance. Let its rhythm teach you how to move without breaking. To Hestia, he murmured, the warmth of the sun on the stones carries strength. Feel it. Let it settle in your chest. Calm can be as powerful as motion. Demeter guided through the flowers and grasses, touched the earth, and noticed how life grows slowly. Every leaf, every root, every stem carries its own patience. Hades required no words, only presence. Cronus walked beside him, observing the way he listened to the rustle of leaves and the hum of the wind, sensing the quiet patterns of the world. Hera's energy was encouraged through gentle direction. Run, laugh, but notice the steps you take. Even joy has rhythm, if we listen. The prophecy's whisper lingered faintly, subtle as the wind, yet Cronus carried it softly in his awareness. He did not allow it to overshadow the present. Instead, it became a rhythm, intertwined with guidance and care. The children, moving through forests and rivers, hills and meadows, absorbed the lessons naturally, unaware of the quiet vigilance that shaped their small days. Night fell, and the children slept beneath the silver glow of the moon. Cronus and Rhea sat nearby, watching their chests rise and fall, listening to their steady breaths. The forest sighed softly, and the rivers carried the faintest reflection of starlight. Cronus felt the quiet rhythm of prophecy pulse faintly, but not as a shadow. It was a reminder, not a threat. They grow, he whispered. They grow, and yet the future waits quietly. And perhaps that is the way of things. We guide, but life unfolds in its own rhythm. Rhea leaned against him, her voice a soft murmur in the night. Yes, that is enough. Love them, guide them gently, and the world will carry the rest. Cronus nodded, breathing in the night air scented with flowers and damp earth. He realized that vigilance need not be heavy, and prophecy need not be a shadow. Life, love, and care created a rhythm that carried both awareness and calm. The Golden Age continued, touched by gentle light and soft shadows. The children grew slowly, each displaying unique traits and curiosity. Cronus and Rhea guided them gently, walking with patience and care, teaching them to observe, to listen, and to move in harmony with the world. And in the hush of the night, under silvered moonlight and twinkling stars, Cronus felt the quiet pulse of the future, not as a threat, but as a gentle rhythm to honor and respect. The children, so small and tender, carried within them both promise and possibility. And in that calm, the Titan realized that care, vigilance, and love could coexist, shaping the present while softly honoring what was yet to come. The Golden Age stretched gently across the land, mornings unfolding like a soft lullaby. Light spilled over hills and valleys in warm, golden hues. Rivers glimmered like silver ribbons, moving slowly across stones smoothed by countless years. The wind drifted through forests and fields, carrying the subtle scent of flowers, grass, and rich soil. Even the mountains seemed to stretch and breathe, their calm presence anchoring the rhythm of the world. Rhea moved slowly along the soft hills, feeling the gentle pull of new life within her. Cronus followed, his steps steady, his gaze quiet yet watchful. The children, now growing more curious and independent, played nearby in the sun-dappled meadows. Hestia arranged small piles of stones, carefully balancing each one, while Poseidon knelt beside the river, watching droplets sparkle as they caught the sunlight. Demeter crouched low to examine the veins of leaves and the subtle swell of buds, her fingers brushing tenderly against life itself. Hades lingered in the shaded groves, his gaze thoughtful, and Hera ran along the hillsides, her laughter soft yet bright, blending with the hum of the wind. The new life within Rhea stirred softly, a delicate pulse beneath her hands. Cronus rested a hand lightly upon her belly, feeling the gentle movements of the child she carried. "Another comes," he murmured quietly, almost to himself, "and yet the world feels full of calm. For now, that is enough." Rhea smiled faintly, her eyes calm as rivers. "Yes, another child, another gentle thread in the tapestry of life. We need only be present and guide softly, as we have before." The day stretched on, warm and luminous. The forest hummed quietly with the life of birds and the subtle rustle of leaves. Bees drifted lazily among flowers, their wings humming a gentle rhythm, while distant mountains cast long shadows that moved softly across the valleys. The children played under Cronus's watchful gaze, learning slowly about balance, rhythm, and the quiet patterns of life. When the child arrived, it was as gentle as dawn itself. Rhea rested on a bed of soft grass, the scent of flowers and earth surrounding her, while Cronus's hands cradled her gently. The soft cry of the newborn echoed lightly through the trees, blending with the hum of rivers and the whisper of wind. Rhea held the child against her chest, feeling the warmth and delicate pulse of life. Cronus looked down at the small figure with quiet awe. "A son," he murmured softly. "Our last. He is small and strong, tender and bright." The child's presence seemed to settle over the meadows like a gentle sigh. The wind shifted softly, carrying petals from nearby flowers to brush against the newborn, as if the world itself welcomed him. Cronus placed his hand lightly on the child, feeling the faint heartbeat within, a rhythm delicate yet steady. "They are all here," Rhea whispered, her voice blending with the soft rustle of leaves. "The children of this age, growing with the world and with us. For now, the prophecy is quiet. Let us treasure the calm and the small breaths of life that surround us." Cronus's gaze lingered on the newborn, and then on each of the older children. Hestia's quiet attention to detail, Poseidon's fascination with rivers, Demeter's connection to the earth, Hades' thoughtful silence, and Hera's bright energy, they each carried the seeds of their unique traits. Now, with the youngest among them, the tapestry felt complete, yet the whisper of prophecy persisted faintly, like a gentle wind brushing the hills. He felt it not as fear, but as a reminder, a quiet nudge to be attentive, careful, and loving. The world was calm, yet he could not ignore the rhythm of what might come. He glanced at Rhea, her serene expression reflecting his own sense of wonder. Together, they watched the children play, move, and learn. "You carry it lightly," Rhea said softly, sensing the quiet hum of his thoughts. "Do not let the whisper grow into shadow. Care is enough. Love and guidance, gentle and steady, are all the world asks of us." Cronus nodded, breathing in the calm air, scented faintly with earth, flowers, and the soft pulse of rivers. "I will," he murmured. "I see now that vigilance need not be heavy. The children grow in their own time, guided by the rhythms we provide and the gentle patterns of the world." The days passed slowly, each one filled with quiet observation, gentle lessons, and soft laughter. Hestia tended stones and warm spaces, Poseidon traced currents and rivers, Demeter explored the subtle growth of plants, Hades observed shadows and movement, and Hera's laughter echoed in bright arcs over hills. Even the youngest, nestled in Rhea's arms, seemed to pulse gently with the calm of the world around him. Cronus guided them with steady hands and soft words. "Notice the world," he would murmur. "Move with care. Listen to the wind, the rivers, the rustle of leaves. Everything has a rhythm, and in that rhythm lies balance. Rhea often sat beside him, her voice the quiet counterpoint to the hum of the world. They will learn through your care, through our patience, and through the quiet patterns around them. That is enough. That is more than enough. As night fell, the children rested beneath the silvered glow of the moon. The forests whispered softly, the rivers carried their gentle songs, and the wind moved like a lullaby through the hills. Cronus and Rhea sat together, watching the rise and fall of small chests, listening to the quiet rhythm of life surrounding them. The prophecy's whisper lingered faintly, but it no longer carried urgency or fear. It was a gentle pulse, a rhythm in the background, a reminder that time would move in its own way. For now, the children were safe, nurtured, and growing under steady hands and loving hearts. Cronus placed his hand over Rhea's, feeling her warmth and the quiet pulse of the youngest child nestled in her arms. "They are all here," he murmured, "and for now that is enough. The future may whisper, but the present is full of calm, and that calm will guide them." The golden age continued, touched with light, filled with the soft laughter and quiet exploration of children, and woven with the gentle awareness of prophecy. Cronus's guidance became a steady rhythm, a soft pulse of vigilance intertwined with love, shaping the present while allowing life to unfold naturally. And under the silver glow of the moon, the soft hum of rivers, and the gentle rustle of forests, Cronus realized that even prophecy could be held lightly, its quiet rhythm a companion to calm, gentle care, and the steady, tender growth of life. The days in the Golden Age unfolded with gentle rhythm, each one stretching across valleys, rivers, and hills like threads of warm sunlight. The forests whispered softly, their leaves brushing together in quiet conversation. Rivers glimmered, tracing slow paths over smooth stones, reflecting the soft colors of the sky above. Even the mountains, silent and steady, seemed to breathe with the calm of the world. Cronus moved among the children, his steps slow and deliberate, his eyes tracing every motion. Hestia lingered near warm stones, her fingers tracing edges with delicate care, learning patience and focus. Poseidon followed streams, delighting in the subtle flow of water around his hands, marveling at the way the current adjusted to every stone and bend. Demeter crouched among wildflowers and grasses, feeling the earth beneath her fingers, noting the slow, steady pulse of life in every root and leaf. Hades observed quietly, standing in shaded groves, listening to the hum of the world as though it spoke only to him. Hera's laughter rang across the hills, bright and clear, her energy full of movement and curiosity. Cronus's gaze softened as he watched them, yet a faint awareness remained in his heart. The prophecy, a whisper from the distant past, lingered quietly, not as a shadow pressing down, but as a subtle current, reminding him that time flowed onward and that the children would one day grow into their own strength. He felt it not as fear, but as a quiet nudge toward careful guardianship. Rhea approached him along a sun-dappled hill, her hair catching the light and casting soft reflections across the grass. "You think too much," she murmured gently, brushing her hand over his arm. "They grow as they must. You do not need to shape the future. Your care is enough." Cronus nodded, drawing in the soft air, scented with grass, flowers, and faint river mist. "I know," he replied quietly. "And yet, even as I guide them gently, I feel the rhythm of what may come. It is subtle, a quiet pulse beneath the calm. I cannot ignore it entirely." Rhea's eyes softened. "Then let it guide you gently, not weigh you down. They are learning through love, not worry. That is the strongest protection we can give." The youngest child stirred in Rhea's arms, the small pulse of life a soft counterpoint to the quiet hum of the hills. Cronus reached out, lightly brushing the child's hand with his fingers, feeling the delicate warmth of its tiny pulse. The connection was gentle yet grounding, a reminder that life was present now, in this moment, not only in the quiet stirrings of future possibility. As the days passed, Cronus's vigilance evolved subtly. He began to consider ways to guide the children safely through their early years without instilling fear. He arranged spaces for their play that followed gentle patterns, paths that led naturally to rivers, meadows, and forests. He encouraged small rituals of observation, noticing the direction of the wind, the ripple of water, the sway of trees. Through these soft lessons, the children learned not only about the world around them, but also about care, patience, and harmony. One afternoon, Cronus spoke quietly to Hestia as she arranged stones by a shallow stream. Feel the warmth of each one, he said softly. Notice how it rests on the ground, steady and unhurried. Strength comes from calmness as much as from motion. To Poseidon, he murmured while guiding a tiny current. The river moves with patience. It bends around obstacles, but it does not stop. There is wisdom in its rhythm. Demeter bent to watch new sprouts emerging from the soil. Life grows slowly, yet persistently, Cronus said, his voice low and soothing. Even the smallest root carries quiet strength. Hades, observing shadows moving across the ground, received no words, only presence. Cronus walked beside him, feeling the child's quiet focus, understanding that some lessons came without instruction. Hera's laughter echoed as she skipped between hills, and he guided her gently. Joy can be careful too. Notice your steps, and the world will flow with you. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, painting the sky in shades of rose, lavender, and gold, Cronus found himself reflecting on the subtle measures of protection he had begun to weave. He did not act in haste or fear. Rather, he created spaces for exploration that were safe, rhythms that were predictable, and lessons that taught patience and awareness. Rhea watched him quietly, sensing the delicate balance he maintained. You have learned well, she said softly. Vigilance need not be harsh. Love and care are stronger than fear, and patience guides better than command. Cronus nodded, watching the children play among the hills and rivers, their movements full of curiosity and wonder. I see it now, he murmured. Protection is not about restraint, but about guidance. It is about shaping the present gently, so the future may unfold safely on its own. As night fell, the hills softened under the silver light of the moon. Stars blinked faintly, their reflections shimmering in the slow currents of rivers. The forests whispered gently, leaves brushing softly against one another, and the wind drifted through valleys carrying the faint scent of earth and blossoms. The children rested, small bodies curling in soft moss, near the warmth of gentle fires or sheltered under trees. Cronus and Rhea sat nearby, holding hands, feeling the quiet pulse of life and the faint rhythm of prophecy. The whisper of future events lingered not as a shadow, but as a gentle reminder, a soft current flowing beneath the calm. They grow, Cronus whispered. They move with the world's rhythm, yet the whisper of what may come remains. I feel it, not as a burden, but as guidance, a quiet nudge to shape today with care. Rhea leaned against him, her voice soft and steady. Then let today be enough. Your care, your patience, your love, that is all they need for now. The future will flow with the calm we nurtured today. The golden age continued, full of gentle sunlight, soft laughter, and the quiet hum of rivers and forests. The children learned slowly, guided by hands steady and loving. Cronus's vigilance, tempered by understanding and calm, became part of the gentle rhythm of life itself. And in the hush of night, under the soft silver glow of the moon and twinkling stars, Cronus realized that protection could be gentle, prophecy could be a rhythm rather than a shadow, and love could guide even the faintest pulse of what was yet to come. The mornings in the Golden Age spread slowly across the hills, rivers, and valleys, each ray of sunlight soft and warm. Dew clung to leaves and grasses, sparkling faintly in the gentle light. The wind moved lazily, brushing through forests and carrying the subtle scent of flowers and rich soil. Birds rose with quiet songs, their melodies weaving among the trees, while the rivers traced slow, silver paths over smooth stones. Cronus walked among his children, moving softly so as not to disturb the gentle rhythm of their play. Hestia lingered near a stream, arranging smooth stones with precise care, her fingers brushing delicately over their edges. Poseidon knelt by a small river bend, letting the water slip through his fingers as he marveled at the ripple of currents around mossy stones. Demeter crouched in meadows, tracing the veins of leaves, feeling the pulse of life beneath her touch. Hades observed quietly from shaded groves, listening to the subtle hum of the world. Hera darted across the hills, her laughter soft yet full of energy, echoing gently through valleys. Cronus paused to watch them, his gaze soft and reflective. Each child displayed traits that were small, yet unmistakable, traces of the greatness they would carry in time. He felt a quiet pride swell within him, tempered by a gentle awareness of the prophecy that lingered faintly, like a current beneath still waters. It whispered softly in his mind, reminding him that time moved steadily onward and that the children would one day encounter forces and choices beyond his control. Rhea approached him along a shaded hill, her hand brushing softly against his arm. "You carry it lightly, I hope," she said, her voice gentle. "The children grow in the world's rhythm, not ours. Let them explore and let your care be calm." Cronus nodded, his gaze still on the children. "I'll try," he murmured. "Yet I feel the subtle pulse of what may come. It is not urgent nor harsh, only present. It reminds me to guide them carefully, to offer paths of gentle learning and observation." The children played, unaware of the soft currents of concern beneath Cronus's watchful eyes. Hestia balanced stones, feeling the warmth of sunlight upon them. Poseidon experimented with the water, observing how tiny currents moved around obstacles. Demeter observed growth in the soil and the subtle shift of leaves in the wind. Hades listened to the rustle of forests and the murmur of distant rivers, while Hera's soft laughter echoed across hillsides. Cronus moved among them, guiding without overt control, gently shaping their experience. "Notice the river," he whispered to Poseidon. "See how it bends around stones. It flows without force, yet always reaches its path. Learn from its patience." To Hestia he murmured, "Feel the warmth of each stone and the calm in its stillness. Strength can come from quietness as much as from movement." Demeter he guided softly through the meadows. "Life grows slowly, yet persistently. Even the smallest root carries wisdom. Observe, feel, and understand." Hades required no instruction, only presence. Cronus walked beside him, attuning to the child's quiet observations, sensing that some lessons unfolded without words. Hera's energy was encouraged with soft direction. "Move with joy, but notice your steps. Even laughter has rhythm if we listen carefully." As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, casting warm, golden light over hills and rivers, Cronus reflected on the subtle choices he had begun to make. He considered how to create spaces where the children could explore safely, how to guide their attention toward gentle lessons without imposing fear, and how to maintain a rhythm that nurtured calm and curiosity. Rhea observed him quietly. "You have learned much," she said softly. "Guidance need not be forceful, and vigilance can be gentle. Love shapes better than caution alone." Cronus nodded, feeling the weight of her words settle like soft earth around his heart. "Yes," he murmured. "Protection need not be harsh. Patience, calm, and gentle guidance can carry them farther than fear or command. The prophecy whispers, but I can shape the present softly, so that they grow in wisdom and care." The children, absorbed in their play, mirrored the gentle rhythm of the world around them. Hestia arranged stones with care. Poseidon explored the movement of water. Demeter felt the pulse of life in every leaf. Hades observed silently, and Hera's laughter rippled across hillsides. Even the youngest nestled in Rhea's arms seemed to absorb the calm and warmth surrounding him, their tiny pulse blending with the gentle heartbeat of the world. Night fell softly, painting the hills in silver and blue, the rivers reflecting the faint glow of stars. The wind moved quietly through the forests, carrying the subtle scent of earth, flowers, and water. The children rested, small bodies curled in gentle comfort. Cronus and Rhea sat nearby, holding hands and feeling the quiet rhythm of life around them. The whisper of prophecy lingered faintly, not as a shadow, but as a soft current beneath the calm. Cronus felt it as a subtle reminder, guiding him to nurture, observe, and create spaces of gentle learning. He realized that love and patience could shape their experience more than worry ever could. "They are growing," Cronus whispered, his voice soft against the hum of the night. "They move with the world's rhythm, yet the pulse of what may come remains. I feel it not as a burden, but as a companion, a gentle nudge to guide today carefully, so the future may unfold safely." Rhea leaned against him, her voice blending with the quiet hum of night. "Let today be enough. Your care, your patience, your love, that is all they need for now. The rest will follow in its own time." The golden age continued, full of soft sunlight, gentle laughter, and quiet exploration. The children learned slowly, guided by hands steady and loving. Cronus's awareness of the future became a gentle rhythm, shaping his choices without shadowing the calm of the present. Under the silver light of the moon, with rivers whispering softly and forests sighing in the night, Cronus understood that guidance, love, and careful vigilance could coexist. Even prophecy, though ever present, could be honored with gentle awareness, shaping a path that allowed life to grow with calm, curiosity, and quiet wonder. And in that soft, luminous night, Cronus felt a serene certainty. The children would learn, explore, and flourish, carried by the rhythm of love and care and the gentle, steady heartbeat of the world itself. The golden age unfolded in soft, lingering light, each day stretching like a warm sigh across the hills, rivers, and valleys. Morning dew shimmered faintly on leaves, catching the gentle rays of the sun and reflecting tiny sparks of gold. The wind drifted through the forests lazily, rustling the branches and carrying the subtle fragrance of blossoms, grass, and earth. Rivers glimmered in silver arcs, winding slowly over smooth stones and mossy banks, moving in a quiet, steady rhythm. Cronus walked among the children, moving carefully so as not to disrupt the natural cadence of their play. Hestia arranged smooth stones near a stream, each one balanced with delicate attention. Poseidon explored the rivers, letting the water slip through his fingers, marveling at the gentle ripples that danced around his hands. Demeter observed the subtle growth in the soil and leaves, her fingers brushing softly across new shoots. Hades lingered quietly under the shade of trees, listening attentively to the rhythm of the world. Hera skipped lightly over hills, her laughter soft yet radiant, mingling with the hum of the forests. Cronus paused and observed the children, noting the ways they moved, touched, and explored their surroundings. Each child displayed signs of their unique strengths and temperaments. Hestia's calm attentiveness, Poseidon's curiosity, Demeter's gentle connection to the earth, Hades' quiet observation, and Hera's lively energy all formed a delicate balance within the family. And now, with the youngest among them, Cronus felt the subtle pulse of potential in every child. A quiet awareness stirred within him, a gentle nudge from the prophecy. Not a forceful command, but a soft rhythm urging careful thought. Cronus reflected upon the need for subtle protection, ways to guide without imposing, to shape their environment to foster safety, calm, and growth. Rhea approached him along a gentle hill, the light of morning brushing her hair with soft gold. "You consider the future more than the present," she murmured, placing a hand lightly on his arm. "Remember, gentle measures and calm guidance are stronger than worry. They learn from love, not fear." Cronus nodded slowly, his gaze sweeping over the children. "I understand," he whispered. "Yet I feel it quietly, the need to create paths where they can explore safely, to guide them gently, so that even unknowingly, they move in balance with the world." As the day unfolded, Cronus began to arrange small, subtle measures of guidance. Near the riverbanks, he created gentle curves of stones to shape Poseidon's explorations without hindrance. Along meadows, he pointed out clusters of soft grass and small stones for Hestia to observe, encouraging her calm, focused touch. He showed Demeter how to notice the subtle shifts of the soil, the slow awakening of plants, teaching patience and observation without commands. Hades learned quietly through presence, as Cronus walked beside him, attuning to the child's silent study of shadows and light. Hera's bright energy was guided through soft encouragement. "Notice the hills beneath your feet, the trees brushing above. Play with care, and the world will welcome your joy." Cronus's subtle guidance extended beyond immediate lessons. He considered the spaces where the children played, the routes they traveled, and the small patterns in their day. Each choice was made with gentle intention, creating a rhythm that allowed freedom and exploration while maintaining quiet safety. Rhea observed his quiet actions with soft admiration. "You balance care and vigilance," she said. "It is enough to shape their experience gently, to let them learn while protected. That is all the world asks of us." As the sun dipped toward the horizon, painting the sky in soft hues of rose, lavender, and gold, Cronus reflected on the subtle steps he had taken. Each measure was small, yet thoughtful, a quiet shaping of the environment, a soft guidance of attention, a gentle reminder to move with awareness. It was neither forceful nor urgent, but deliberate and tender, reflecting his understanding of the balance between care and freedom. The children played, exploring the meadows, rivers, and forests with soft energy. Hestia arranged stones in careful patterns, her focus steady and precise. Poseidon experimented with water, delighted by the gentle ripples he created. Demeter observed the subtle pulse of life in the earth, marveling at new growth. Hades moved silently, absorbing the patterns of light and shadow, while Hera's laughter echoed lightly, a bright thread weaving through the calm of the hills. Night arrived slowly, wrapping the land in silvered shadows. Stars began to twinkle faintly above, mirrored in the gentle arcs of the rivers. The wind whispered softly through trees, carrying the faint scent of blossoms and damp earth. The children rested beneath the calm glow of the moon, their small bodies curling naturally into the comfort of the land. Cronus sat beside Rhea, feeling the quiet pulse of life around him. The prophecy's whisper remained subtle, a soft rhythm beneath the calm of the present. He realized that protection did not require force or harsh measures. Instead, it came from awareness, careful guidance, and gentle shaping of experience, allowing the children to grow freely while remaining safe in the world. "They are safe," Cronus whispered, his voice blending with the soft rustle of forests and the hum of rivers. "They grow in rhythm with the world, guided by gentle hands and the quiet awareness of what may come. That is enough for now." Rhea leaned against him, her voice soft and steady. "It is more than enough. They learn through love, care, and the gentle patterns we create. The world itself will guide them further." The Golden Age continued, touched with the warmth of sunlight, soft laughter, and the gentle exploration of children. Cronus's quiet vigilance, tempered by love and patience, became part of the fabric of their days. He had learned that prophecy could coexist with calm guidance, that protection could be gentle, and that the rhythm of life itself could shape growth without harshness. Under the silver glow of the moon, with rivers whispering softly and forests sighing in the night, Cronus understood that even subtle actions could shape the future. The children would learn, explore, and flourish, carried by the rhythm of love, the gentle pulse of care, and the steady heartbeat of the world itself. The mornings of the Golden Age were soft and unhurried, stretching across the hills and rivers with gentle light. Dew clung delicately to leaves, reflecting the sun in tiny, shimmering sparks. The wind moved lazily through forests and meadows, carrying the subtle fragrance of flowers, grass, and damp earth. Rivers traced slow, silver paths over smooth stones, their gentle gurgle blending with the hum of life in quiet harmony. Cronus moved among the children, his steps careful and measured. Hestia arranged smooth stones with tender precision, her fingers brushing lightly over each edge. Poseidon knelt beside a small stream, marveling at the currents and observing how water adapted to every stone and curve. Demeter crouched low to the earth, her hands brushing across leaves and buds, feeling the pulse of life beneath her touch. Hades lingered in shaded groves, listening attentively to the soft rhythm of the wind through the trees. Hera skipped across the hills, her laughter bright and gentle, echoing softly through the valleys. Cronus paused, observing their movements with calm pride. Each child carried a unique rhythm, a quiet spark of the greatness they would one day embody. He felt a gentle awareness of prophecy lingering beneath his thoughts, a subtle, soft pulse reminding him that time moved steadily onward, that the children would grow and encounter the vastness of the world in ways he could not yet foresee. Rhea approached him along a sun-dappled hill, her eyes calm and warm. "You carry the whisper too heavily," she said softly, brushing her hand over his arm. "They grow in their own rhythm. Gentle guidance is stronger than worry." Cronus nodded slowly, inhaling the fresh air scented faintly with blossoms and soil. "I understand," he murmured. "Yet even so, I feel the pulse of what may come. It is not a weight, but a soft current. It reminds me to guide carefully, to weave protection and care into their days without hindering their growth." The children continued their quiet explorations. Hestia balanced stones with patient focus. Poseidon traced tiny currents in the rivers, fascinated by their subtle movements. Demeter observed the life in soil and leaves, marveling at the slow, steady pulse of growth. Hades moved silently, absorbing the delicate interplay of light and shadow. Hera's laughter sparkled across the hills, mingling with the gentle rustle of leaves. Even the youngest, nestled in Rhea's arms, seemed to pulse with the calm energy surrounding him. Cronus's reflections deepened as he watched them. He began to consider ways to weave gentle guidance into their lives, paths to encourage exploration while fostering awareness, spaces where learning could unfold safely subtle patterns that taught patience, observation, and understanding. Every action he took was deliberate, yet quiet, shaping experience without imposing constraint. He guided Hestia softly. Feel the warmth of the stones. Notice their stillness and strength. Calm can be as powerful as motion. Poseidon received gentle words. Observe the river. See how it flows around obstacles. Learn patience from its rhythm. Demeter's lessons were tenderly spoken. Touch the earth. Notice how life grows slowly, yet persistently. Every root, every leaf carries wisdom. Hades needed no instruction. Cronus's presence was enough to shape his awareness of the world. Hera's bright energy was encouraged with subtle direction. Move with joy, but notice the earth beneath your feet, the trees above. Even laughter has rhythm if we pay attention. As the sun moved toward the horizon, painting the sky in soft shades of rose, lavender, and gold, Cronus reflected on the delicate balance he had created. He understood that protection did not require fear, only awareness. Gentle guidance, careful shaping of the environment, and patient attention to the children's movements could safeguard them while allowing freedom and exploration. Rhea watched him quietly. "You have learned well," she said softly. "Vigilance does not need to weigh heavily. Love, patience, and gentle guidance will carry them further than fear ever could." Cronus nodded, feeling the truth of her words settle gently in his heart. "Yes," he whispered. "Even prophecies need not be a shadow. It can be a quiet rhythm, a gentle reminder to shape today with care, so the future may unfold safely." The children played on, moving through meadows, rivers, and forests with soft energy. Hestia arranged stones with careful focus. Poseidon delighted in the currents, observing each subtle ripple. Demeter explored new growth in earth. Hades moved silently, attentive to light, shadow, and sound. Hera's laughter echoed, bright yet soft, a thread of joy woven through the calm of the world. As night fell, the world softened beneath silvered moonlight. Stars twinkled faintly above, mirrored in the slow arcs of the rivers. The wind whispered gently through trees, carrying the faint scent of earth and blossoms. The children rested, small bodies curled in peaceful slumber. Cronus and Rhea sat together, feeling the quiet pulse of life around them. The prophecy's whisper lingered softly, not as a weight, but as a gentle rhythm beneath the calm. Cronus understood that careful attention, subtle guidance, and patient love were enough to shape the children's days, preparing them for the world to come without overshadowing the peace of the present. "They are safe," Cronus murmured, his voice blending with the soft rustle of leaves and the hum of rivers. "They grow in rhythm with the world, guided by hands that are steady and hearts that are calm." "That is enough." Rhea leaned against him, her voice soft and steady. "It is more than enough. They will learn through love, through gentle observation, and through the patterns we quietly provide. The world itself will carry them further." The Golden Age continued, full of gentle sunlight, quiet laughter, and calm exploration. The children learned slowly, guided by steady, loving hands. Cronus's quiet vigilance, tempered with patience and care, became part of the gentle rhythm of life itself. Under the silver glow of the moon, with rivers whispering softly and forests sighing in the night, Cronus realized that prophecy could coexist with calm guidance, that protection could be subtle and tender, and that the rhythm of love could carry the children safely into their future. And in that luminous night, he felt the serene certainty. The children would grow, explore, and flourish, guided by the rhythm of gentle care and the steady heartbeat of the world. The first light of dawn stretched softly over the hills, rivers, and valleys of the Golden Age. Sunlight spilled like warm honey across meadows, touching leaves, stones, and the flowing waters with gentle warmth. Dew glimmered on blades of grass and the edges of flowers, sparkling softly in the calm air. The wind drifted lazily, carrying the subtle fragrance of earth, blossoms, and the quiet pulse of life awakening all around. Cronus rose slowly, feeling the soft rhythm of the world beneath him. He watched the children stretch and awaken, their movements gentle, their curiosity still bright and tender. Hestia arranged smooth stones by a shallow stream, her fingers brushing lightly as she balanced each one with careful attention. Poseidon knelt near the river, tracing its currents with delicate fingers, observing the tiny ripples that moved around stones. Demeter explored the soil and the subtle bloom of flowers, her hands brushing softly across leaves and buds. Hades stood quietly in the shaded grove, listening to the gentle pulse of wind through branches. Hera's soft laughter carried across the hills as she stepped lightly, her bright energy blending naturally with the rhythm of the world. Cronus walked among them, his steps slow and measured, his heart calm yet full of quiet reflection. He had spent countless days guiding, observing, and shaping the environment for the children's gentle growth. Every measure he had taken, every careful arrangement of stones, every soft direction, every patient lesson had contributed to the harmony that now surrounded them. Rhea joined him on a soft hill, her hand brushing lightly over his arm. "The children have grown well," she said quietly. "They carry the rhythm of the world within them. Your care, gentle and steady, has guided them without burden." Cronus nodded slowly, watching the children move freely yet with quiet attention. "Yes," he murmured. "I see it now. Even the faint whisper of prophecy need not shadow them. It can be a soft rhythm, reminding us to guide gently, to shape the present with care, so the future unfolds naturally." The children's laughter and quiet play fill the morning, a delicate harmony with the whispering wind, rustling leaves, and the soft gurgle of rivers. Hestia's focus was steady and calm. Poseidon's curiosity flowed freely, yet he moved with a careful awareness of the water. Demeter marveled at the subtle pulse of life in soil and leaves. Hades observed, attentive and reflective, absorbing the patterns of light, shadow, and sound. Hera's laughter echoed lightly, bright and gentle, weaving through the calm hills like a soft melody. Even the youngest nestled in Rhea's arms carried the warmth of life, blending into the quiet rhythm of the world. Cronus reflected on the long days of care, observation, and subtle guidance. He realized that protection could be quiet, patient, and gentle. He understood that prophecy was not a command, but a soft current, a companion to calm vigilance. And he saw that the children had grown in a world shaped by love, patience, and steady guidance, moving in harmony with the gentle rhythm of life itself. As the sun climbed higher, painting the landscape with soft gold and pale blue, Cronus spoke softly to the children. "Notice the world around you," he said, his voice calm and steady. "See how the rivers move, how the leaves sway, how the sunlight touches everything. There is rhythm in every movement, in every breath of the world. Learn from it. Move with it. Grow with it." Hestia looked up from her stones and nodded, understanding the quiet lesson in his words. Poseidon dipped his fingers into the river and smiled at the way the water flowed. Demeter pressed her hand into the soil, feeling life pulse beneath her touch. Hades simply observed, absorbing everything with quiet understanding. Hera laughed softly, spinning in gentle arcs across the hillside, her joy full of awareness and calm energy. Cronus turned to Rhea, feeling the warmth of her presence beside him. "We have done well," he whispered. "The children are ready to grow in their own way. Our guidance, our care, has given them the rhythm of the world. That is enough." Rhea rested her hand over his, her eyes soft with reflection. "Yes," she said, "they are ready. And yet, they will always carry the quiet presence of our care, like a steady heartbeat beneath their own steps. That is the greatest gift we can give." The day stretched on, full of quiet exploration, soft laughter, and gentle observation. The world moved around them in harmony, rivers flowing over stones, wind brushing through leaves, sunlight warming the hills, and shadows stretching gently across meadows. The children grew with each moment, guided by subtle instruction, careful attention, and the soft pulse of love that Cronus and Rhea had nurtured. As evening approached, the sky turned soft shades of rose, lavender, and pale gold. Rivers reflected the colors, moving with calm, deliberate grace. The wind carried the subtle scent of flowers and damp earth, and the forests whispered softly with life settling into night. The children rested, their small bodies curling into peaceful comfort. Cronus and Rhea sat together, watching the gentle rhythm of the world around them. The prophecy's whisper remained faint, the subtle pulse beneath the calm of the present. Cronus realized that careful guidance, patience, and love were enough to shape the children's growth. The rhythm of life itself, paired with gentle care, would carry them forward safely into the world to come. "They are ready," Cronus whispered, his voice blending with the quiet hum of rivers and wind. "They will grow, explore, and flourish. Our love, patience, and guidance have given them strength. That is all we can offer, and it is everything. Rhea leaned against him, her presence calm and steady. The world will guide them further now, she said softly. They carry the rhythm we've nurtured. That rhythm will carry them into their own light, their own growth. Under the silver glow of the moon, with stars twinkling above and rivers whispering below, Cronus and Rhea felt a serene certainty. The children would move through the world with calm curiosity, guided by the gentle heartbeat of the land and the quiet lessons of love and care. The Golden Age continued, filled with the soft rhythm of life, the delicate pulse of growing beings, and the steady presence of those who nurtured them. And in that tranquil night, Cronus understood fully. Prophecy could be gentle, guidance could be quiet, and love could shape the future more strongly than fear ever could. The children were ready to embrace the world, carrying with them the rhythm of calm, the pulse of care, and the steady, luminous heartbeat of life itself. The hills, rivers, and forests sighed softly under the quiet moonlight. The Golden Age flowed on, a world alive with gentle harmony, the soft laughter and curiosity of children, and the enduring presence of care and love. And with that calm certainty, Cronus and Rhea rested, watching their children sleep peacefully, knowing that the rhythm they had nurtured would carry them safely into every dawn yet to come.